We must start the tea. I think it's a working tea. Good afternoon, honorable members and the family, MC, and the officials. We are attending the portfolio committee meeting on agriculture. And we've got an agenda in front of you or on the screen, which items the number 1 is an opening and welcome. Let me take this opportunity and welcome you to this important meeting. Because I can see everyone so it important. We are all here. And feel free to debate or to raise issues. And also feel free to answer. And that means all of us, we must come out of this meeting and assist each other for the betterness of our communities in the province. We need to work together and we need to advise each other when it is possible, so that all of us will achieve what we have to achieve. In these few words, just simply to welcome you in this meeting. I think we know each other. So far, we know each other. That's why we don't have item no exhibition. No, we don't have. We know each other. We don't have a new member here. So we move to item number 2, which is welcome and apologies.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Honorable Moses, intendant is approach.
Thank you for giving us an apology. Only one apology. And the committee is in full house. Only one. We apologize to this meeting. I'm advised for us to introduce ourselves so that we used to know each other. I thought that's why I'm a the chairperson of Portfolio Agriculture and Rural Development. It's really,
I'm a member of this committee.
Honorable Secretary of this committee.
Good afternoon, team of my friends. I'm Kakari Mwakwa, a member of this committee. Good afternoon, NSC and College. My name is Kakari Mwakwa,
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Omodin Mayuda, member of this committee.
Good afternoon, MEC and your team, colleagues. My name is Wesley Marinda, I'm a member of this committee. Thank you.
Afternoon, Navi Dumisani Manemena, member of the committee.
Afternoon, colleagues. I'm paying the check, member of the committee.
Afternoon, thank you, Chairperson. Afternoon, honorable members, colleagues. I'm Mr. Mdaudi Gezeni. I'm the researcher for the Portfolio Committee on Rural Development.
Good afternoon. Our name is the Communication Center.
Let me see.
My name is Nicole Shamba. Good afternoon, Chairperson and members. My name is Marianne Katingi, CFO for the department.
Good afternoon, I'm Carol Shukotana, Acting Chief Director for Quality Management. I'm managing the MSC, the HOD, and the Chairperson members.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, honorable members. My name is Jadwal Nawalta. I'm the Chief Director responsible for Agricultural Development and Farmer Support Services.
Good afternoon, Chairperson and honorable members, colleagues as well. Good afternoon, I'm Edith Nationality, Chief Director, Strategy and Systems.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, MEC, HOD and colleagues. My name is Basecha Bula, Chief Director, Sustainable Resource Management.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair, members, NEC and colleagues. I am Melinda Labuskakne, responsible for Agrarian Transformation and Sector Development Services.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, MEC, honorable members. My name is Moses Mabunda, Acting Chief Director, Agriculture, Regulatory and Technology Development. Thank you.
Aslan Fadel, agriculture.
Good afternoon, Chair. I'm Marcian, responsible for participation and ease.
Chairperson, members, and colleagues. My name is Karan Makwai. I'm responsible for HODC.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, honorable members, MEC, Acting HOD. I'm Bafedi Mabunda, HOD Support.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, MEC, honorable members and colleagues. My name is Kazamula Mashel, responsible for employee relations and HRD.
Chairperson, honorable members, and colleagues. Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Minte, Doctor of Senior Officer of police. Chairperson, MEC, colleagues, and as well as honorable members and colleagues.
Thank you very much. I think this must also be estimated as a relatively runnable. We are now item number 3, which is the confirmation of the agenda. Honorable members, this is the agenda for today's meeting. I will confirm this agenda to be our agenda for the day. Honorable Mahon.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I confirm that I did not bring the meeting to the
Honorable Mako, I will second. Was second?
Second, Chair.
Yeah. Thank you, honorable members. On item number 4, briefing by the department on the resolution, tracking 4.2, 2024-25 second quarter reports, 4.3, 2024-25 third quarter report. Over to you, Honorable MEC.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable I think when I'm talking to the HPG here, acting HPG, she's indicated that in terms of the advert or the information received, there was no indication of the tracking of the resolutions of the previous full committee. So I'm not sure whether the item was presented later after we got the invite. But for now, in terms of the invite, the session, we don't have the very same item. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson. It's true. MC supposed to do my chairperson on the meeting outside this. That's why I don't teacher. That item, it will be the standing item for the next meeting. We understand that today is only for the 2 reports, but in the next meeting, it will always be there. Just to remind it, I was told you on man, maybe I'm more like a woman. I'm homeless out of all the and family situation. Without really legal privilege in some of those issues, but it's fine. In the next meeting, the item will be the standing item. Our official will create a list of issues that was raised by the honorable members, and also maybe the dates for the department to come and respond to the committee. We felt it's important that we don't bury our issues, because we think those issues are the issues that is going to help the department, to help the committee, and to help and also to assist the communities out there. We don't have to come here and talk, but not act. As the politician, we always been asked by the communities, where are you? How far are you in terms of this? We don't have response. So, I mean, maybe I don't know test and this. Do you still remember our questions from the last meeting? That it's fine. Next meeting must be right. And I think we all remember that was the questions from the honorable members. So, can just should split to the reports, or if maybe there is something that you want to talk.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson, once more. I think before I afford the acting the opportunity to talk to the report, I think it keep them, we have privilege to do the very same resolutions. It will be a candidate that we submitted even before the sitting of the next meeting, because it might be far, so that our side also familiarize ourselves with those resolutions to check whether we are on track. If we liaise with the research and thank you so much. I'm going to take this opportunity to afford the opportunity to provide the report of the second quarter report.
Good afternoon, small honorable chairperson of the members. And thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm going to take you through the second quarter, the third quarter performance report for 2024-2025 financial year. This is the current financial year. Having with me, I've got some cough, but I guess that I'll be able to help. This is our presentation. We have made a summary to the committee for second and third quarter. But if you check on the report, it has got 4 items which reflects the organizational cumulative performance. This is the overall organizational performance. What we did, Honorable Chairperson, is that we are in the last quarter, which is the 4th quarter of the current financial year. And as we were tracking through the performance, we then realized that there are certain areas where we were not performing according to the target, the annual targets in some of the programs. So we wanted to do a proper, holistical, analytical report so that we will be able to have a catch-up plan, because our intention is to make sure that we achieve all the targets that we have set in the annual performance plan. So I'm going to request that we shoot straight to slide number 12. That is on page 6, slide number 12, which is the cumulative analysis for all those quarters, which is the 3 quarters that I've already mentioned. To then realize that we are having 8 programs in the department, and in terms of the performance, we are having 70 indicators. So far, up to quarter 3, we have managed to achieve 49 of our targets, and we could not achieve on 21 targets. And I'm going to then break it down. It's just an analysis at a higher level. From the helicopter view, this is how we have performed. And as a department, we then had to develop a catch-up plan for those areas that requires our attention. Without any waste of time, can we then shoot straight to slide number 50? I think it will be slide number 40. The previous one. I'm not sure if you are happy, but anyway, I'll speak to it. There is no problem. Let's move to the second slide. We will then start with the second quarter performance report. In terms of the overall performance on the quarter under review, we are sitting at 82.1%. Out of 8 programs, there are 3 programs that did not perform according to the set targets, and I'm going to concentrate much on those programs. Program number 2, which is sustainable resource use management, the total targets for this quarter, it was 17, then we were able to achieve 11 out of 17 with the 7 targets which were not achieved, meaning that as we translate it into the percentage, we are sitting at 64.7%. The reason why we did not perform according to the set targets, I will speak to indicator 2.1.2 and 2.1.3. 2.1.2 is when we had target to equip the irrigation schemes in terms of the number of hectares. Out of 20 targets, our actual is 10. The reason why we could not achieve this target, we had some delays. We're still on the previous one. The next one. This one. The delays was as a result of non-collection of the ESCOM electricity at Kopan disabled project. We were unable to then equip those irrigation systems. At 2.1.3, that's when we envisaged to do the efficient water use system, to develop the efficient water use system. And out of 2 targets, we have managed to perform one, achieve one, and underachieved one. The reason is the same reason that was provided as a variance, that due to the non-connection of the electricity from ESCOM, we were unable to achieve these targets. On indicator 2.1.6, when we were supposed to environmentally control the production of the structure constructed, we could not perform the target. Was 1. The reason why we could not perform was due to the non-implementation of the slow progress of the service provider of the contractor for refurbishing of poultry houses. That's the reason that we and our intervention or the remedial action for all those indicators that I've already alluded to is for us to intensify or strengthen our monitoring and evaluation mechanism, and also have constant engagement or follow-up sessions with the ESCOM, and also on the issue of non-implementation of the contractor in line with the work schedule to ensure that we enforce compliance on the turnaround time by the contractor as a department. The other indicator which we could not perform was on the number of hectares cleared on alien invasive plants, and the reason why we could not achieve as per the target is that we have started the project very late due to the approval of the budget, which we were unable to receive on time from the transferring officer. And this will then be expected to be implemented on our third quarter as a catch-up plan. For the number of farmers assisted through disaster relief, we have targeted 200. We could not perform according to the set target because there was no budget allocation for the request made to assist the farmers for disaster relief. So that was the challenge at our disposal, and therefore we have tried our level best to budget, to make sure that we beat budget accordingly, so that we can be able, as and when disaster strike, we could be able to salvage the situation. Program 3, we had 16 targets. We had achieved 13, and 3 were not achieved. That translates to 81.3% in terms of the performance during the quarter under review. On 3.1.2 indicator, when we are expected to provide support to the smallholder farmers, we did not achieve and targets.
Sorry, Chair. Apologies for interjecting. I'm checking. The slides are not numbered because isn't that we're supposed to know which slide I want to talk to? Or maybe it's been. Are they numbered? Maybe. So it's not going to be easy for us to please, as I'm hearing the meeting, must be able to note that on slide 8, I'm in head issue, on slide 10.
The slides. Can you read that from the slideshow? No, listen, we apologize. I think we adjusted from our side. We unnumbered. Let's just acknowledge certain.
With my little IT knowledge, if you can just go there and sort it,
Can't you just number it from my
there should be an IT.
Yeah, just try to unnumber it for us.
Yes.
You must have the page. Okay. Or we just say that page. What will you say? We just say that page.
That page, you must just say that page.
Yeah, that page.
Yeah.
That's fine, you can proceed. Otherwise, you're going to mess everything.
That page.
This lady is 90%. Sagar is going to mess up things and within the investment.
What a
Our sincere apology. Let's try to remember the slides.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Let's proceed. Don't call the woods only for again.
Let's run, let's proceed.
So we can double the numbers under performance measure base, for example, 3.1.21.
And now she's on slide number 80.
Correct.
Maybe 18 HOD. I was like, I'm now on slide 17, on slide 18, slide 19.
What do I achieve? What do you?
You know, I really
Remember, I don't remember.
I changed it, I don't
Don't remember. I don't remember. All the time. So I'm going to do other numbers all the time. Come on. I've got another issue. Cool. Like I don't bother more salary more. Really, good time.
Where do you find it? You say sometime.
We are at slide 80. 3.1.2, wherein we were supposed to.
Hey, it's like taking Marinda to Cape Town. It will be too dark.
The last time I checked, the chairperson has given me an opportunity to check. So let us listen to the presenter.
Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson indicated 3.1.2 on the number of small board users supported. And our achievement, the target is 941, and our actual performance, we are sitting at 515. The challenge at our disposal was as a result of the delay of the delivery of the production inputs from by the service provider, and we are having a catch-up plan as a remedial action so that we can be able to achieve accordingly on the outer quarter. On the, indicator 3.1.3, where we were supposed to provide support to the producers on cotton commodity, we target is 10 and the actual is 10. We could not achieve our target due to unfavorable climatic conditions. We had erratic weather conditions which had affected us severely around the second quarter. If you will remember that we had drought and we were unable to provide the necessary support. And as a remedial action, we are currently encouraging our farmers to explore the conservation agricultural practices so that we can be able to salvage or beat our unstable weather condition. We did not perform on indicator 3.2.6 where we were supposed to provide our farmers in terms of the farmers' days. Facilitated our 109 target, we had achieved 88, and the involvement, we will then seek for the involvement of the external stakeholders to assist us in reaching more producers. And on program 4, we had 8 targets we had managed to achieve on the 7th, and 1 was not achieved, which translates to 87.5%. This relates to indicator 4.1.1, where we were supposed to collect the samples for animal disease surveillance, and our target is 1,258, and our actual performance was sitting at 644. The reason why we could not attain the targeted number is as a result of the vacancies wherein we were operating on skeletal staff, and currently that has been addressed. We had advertised posts and we were able to fill some of the highly critical positions. If the chairperson allows me, when I go to the summary on quarter 3, maybe before I move to quarter 3, in terms of the budget performance during quarter 2, we had performed at 46.2%, which is against the straight norm of 50%. That was our overall budget performance during the quarter annual review. If the chairperson agrees, then I'll move to quarter 3. Thank you. We had 54 targets in quarter 3, and the department had achieved 33 out of 54. The targets which were not achieved is 21, which translates to 61.1%. And 3 programs could not achieve those targets in the quarter under review out of 8 programs. Program 2, it's one of the programs that could not achieve. They had 17 targets. 7 were achieved, which translates to 41.2% on percentage. The reason why we could not achieve on indicator 2.1.1 on the number of agricultural infrastructure established, we had targeted 18, we were able to achieve 12. This was as a result of the delays on the site handover of the contractors, and the other reason is non-compliance of the contractors in terms of the term contract pricing documents. The site handover was only handed over in the second quarter, and therefore shifted the completion targets. Just to be precise, there are 6 projects that are near completion, we could say, in terms of the performance.
that if we closely monitor the performance of those contractors, we will be able to catch up on the variance oil disposal. On indicator 2.1.2, on the number of hectares equipped with the infield irrigation system, we could not achieve the target of 35, the actual is 20.5. The same reason as alluded on the previous one, the late contractors, when we were unable to appoint the contractors on time, and that affected the commencement period of those projects. And in terms of the performance, this is where we are hoping that in the quarter under review, we'll be able to catch up if we intensify our monitoring mechanisms. On 2.1.3, efficient water use system developed. We had targeted 5, and we achieved 3. We could not achieve the same reasons as stipulated above. And on the number 2.1.4 indicator on the number of livestock infrastructure established, out of 9, we had our actual is 1. The livestock projects were completed ahead of the planned time during the Q1 and Q2. We make reference to Q1 and Q2, you see that we achieved the target of 16. So they continued with the implementation so that we can be able to achieve the annual target for the remaining targets. Out of 6 targets on the number of environmentally controlled production structures, we had achieved 1. The challenge here was as a result of the late commencement of the contractors, wherein the contractors could not comply with the pricing in Q1, and the status quo, you could see that it's the same reason that I have alluded above, and we intensify our catch-up plan, wherein we are monitoring those projects for its completion. On target 2.2.1, on the number of hectares of agricultural land rehabilitated, the hectares that were supposed to be rehabilitated is 300. We are sitting at 296.5. The challenge is the extreme temperatures during the quaternary review, wherein the workers was affected. The performance of the workers were affected by the extreme temperatures, and the outstanding variance will then be catch up or augmented in Q4. 2.2.3 on the number of green jobs created. Out of the target of 350, we were able to achieve 292. And the reason why we were unable to achieve is due to some of the green jobs activities, such as conservation agriculture, could not start on time due to the rain patterns during the quarter under review. And most jobs were created as well in Q2, since the target was 350 and the achievement we overachieved on this target. On the indicator 2.2.6 on the number of projects using climate smart technologies, our target was 150 and actual 93. The rainy seasons as well started late, and sporadic rain patterns had affected our planting season. And more pro-users, we're expecting more pro-users in the quarter, in the Q4, so that we'll be able to utilize the climate smart technologies. On the 2.2.7, on the number of hectares to be cleared of alien invasive plants, target was 500, we're sitting at 256.4. The extreme high temperatures also contributed to the performance of the laborers, and less hectares than the previous, which we are then envisaging to catch up in the quarter 4. The disaster relief support for farmers, our target is 150 and our actual is 94. The challenge was a delay on the delivery of the supplements. Only 10% of the orders were those engagement with the service providers. That was program 2. In program 3, we had 16 targets, 6 achieved and 10 could not be achieved. We are sitting at the performance at 37.5%. The indicators that could not be achieved is 3.1.1, where the department was supposed to provide support on the smallholder producers. Instead of reaching 850, our actual is 160. And the challenge is the prevailing high temperature. Summer where the crop, planting of crop was delayed because we could not have rain during the quarter. And we having the catch-up plan at our disposal so that we can be able to achieve this desired target. On the number of smallholder producers supported, the subsistence producers supported, we were targeting 2,610 smallholder producers to be subsistence farmers to be supported. Our target is 1,300. That is the same challenge of delay in crop planting due to the high temperatures during the quarter under review. Same on cotton commodity, 12, our actual is 1 due to sporadic rains and high temperature, and that had delayed our planting during that quarter. And our remedial issue, we are busy during the work session, advising the farmers to explore the conservation agricultural practices. 3.1.4, the number of producers to be supported on citrus commodity, our target is 15, the actual is 11. More producers were supported in quarter 1 and 2. As you can check on the cumulative performance, we have supported 68, which is more than the annual target of 65. So here we don't have a problem. On commodity, the number of producers supported on red meat commodity, we have supported 281 instead of 592. The less producers received input whilst there were delays on the finalization of the feed contract. This is a national competency, so there was a delay. We're still awaiting into the term contract. And we are continuing to make follow-ups and engagement with our direct national department. We 3.1.6, where we were supporting the producers with the grain, red grain commodity. Instead of 1,919, our actual is 772. Due to the reason for variance is the planting of summer crops was delayed due to non-availability of sufficient rain and the high temperatures. The catch-up plan is being developed in order for us to achieve the desired goal. On the indicator 3.1.8, on the number of producers supported in the sub-crop commodity, we have supported 2 instead of 90, and we are envisaging to support more farmers. More farm producers were supported in the first quarter and the second quarter, so we had already surpassed the target for the annual target. On 3.2.5, the number of producers capacity building demonstration, we had supported 399 as our actual instead of 641. The climatic challenge conditions where there was high prevailing temperature and minimal rainfall has contributed to the delays for us to achieve the target.
Number of farmers days facilitated. Out of 77 targets, we are actually sitting at the high prevailing temperatures and animal health has contributed to us to underperform. The other program is Program 8, that is rural development. They had 3 indicators and we had achieved 2. We could not achieve on one indicator, that translates to 66.7%. The reason for variance is that we were facilitating the lease agreements, and we could not achieve because of non-availability of the signatories parties. So this will be then realized in the 4th quarter. I think this was achieved in the 4th quarter. Thank you, Chairperson. Our budget performance in the 3rd quarter, we are sitting at 67.6% instead of the straight line of against the straight line of 75%.
Chairperson, they presented the second
Thank you, Honorable Lucy, for assisting the chairperson. And thank you, MEC, for the reports. We are now on item number 8, which is questions and comments by the members of the Portfolio Committee. And by show of hands, honorable members, honorable MEC, honorable Moreno, honorable Kakare, honorable Maina, honorable Helm, all of you, in that sequence. Let me just start here.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. I have some questions and then I have questions for clarity, just to explain to me what I mean with certain matters, if that's okay. So if we, and I assume we start with quarter 2. So we start with quarter 2. Thank you very much also for the MEC to be here and actually we appreciate that you made the time for us. If we go to quarter 2, the annual performance plan report, and we go to program 2, sustainable resource use and management, we go to sub-program 2.1, agricultural engineering services. I see that there's some, if we look at the SNL SUNS project, and we have done oversight on that one, and then I see that there was an action plan on the 3 farms visited by the portfolio committee. And keep in mind that that project is actually on private property, if I'm correct, Chairperson. The owners are actually 2 people, and the son is farming there, but they are the owners, it's private property. And we already invested some money in the broader house that was now being built, which is not finished yet. And if I'm correct, it was 1.9 million. Now we're going to invest another, if I'm correct, 3.455 million. So my question is, if the Auditor General look at this, and the Auditor General see this is private property, and we invest so much money on private property, will that not be a problem? So that's my first question. It's not like the other projects where it is acquired through PLAS or anything else. This is they bought the farm, it's on their name, it's private property, if I understand it correctly. So we already gave so much money, now we give another 3.45 million. So, and I'm just wondering if that's not the audit period. And then I would like to ask that money, which vote in the budget are we going to budget on? Is it this financial year or the next one? Is there a start and finish date if we can get that information? So, and if we look at the total amount on those 3 projects that we visited, is 6.888 million. And my question is, the need of so many farmers is so great. And there's not a single thing that we allocated to disaster relief. How can we give only 3 farmers so much money? If you remember the first farm that we actually visited at that stage, where, let me just get the name, Sela Trading, that farm was actually purchased by the government for 97 million rand.
and now we invest another 502,000. So the question is just so much money for so few projects, and what about all the other farmers that need so much more? Because you remember the challenge is the disasters were followed up one on top of another one. It was the black frost, then it was the drought, then it was the flood. So it's never ending, the disasters. And now we put so much money onto those field projects. And then just for clarity, sub-program 2.2 land care. If we speak about rehabilitation of agricultural land, what exactly do we mean? Is it erosion control? Exactly, is it removal of invasive plants? What exactly is that what we talk about? The same about land care practices. What exactly do we mean? And if we talk about invasive, alien invasive plants, which are they? Do we have a list of them so that we can know what it is? We go to sub-program 2.3, land use management. What is the same question? What is agro-ecosystem management plans? And what is Capricorn AEZ cluster wards? So it's just for clarity, so if I can understand when I read, that I know what I'm reading. Sub-program 2.4, disaster risk reduction, number of disaster relief scheme managed. And this is for me a big problem, because we tend to give money so easily for so many things, but when there's a disaster, then we don't. I mean, I know of a farmer near Aldi's. He used his whole pension to buy this little farm and his cattle. And when the drought comes, he begged us for support and we did it. So for me, that was really very difficult to look him in the eye and say, sorry, we've asked. We even sent him the forms, he completed the forms, he didn't receive any. So for me, that was really a difficult one. So we need to find a way to somehow budget for disaster relief. We have to find a way, and I'm not sure how, but I'm pretty sure disasters is not foreign to Limpopo, and we will get that every year. And then in Program 3, Agricultural Producer Support and Development, Sub-Program 3.1, Producer Support Services. My question is, how is the smallholders or the subsistence producers selected? Do you apply? Do the extension officers go out and look for these farmers? How do we actually get hold of them? And it's the same as the question you have asked, is there a list of all the farmers that we as the department are actually supported? And then the next question is, how many years in a row will they be supported? Is it an ongoing thing or only 1, 2 or 3 times? Sub-program 3.2, Extension and Advisory Services. Breeding livestock provided. Where and do the farmers have enough grazing? So the question now is, if you provide support, but you don't enable the farmer. So we say, for example, we allow you to have 500 heads of cattle, but your farmers are small that the grazing is gone. Do we take that into account? And then there was an item on fish breeding. So my question is, where is this, and is this supposed to be commercial? Or is it for the use of the farmer? Do we plan that this is a commercial breeding entity, and where is the market then for that? And then Program 4, Veterinary Services. I want to know, are we responsible for the control of rabies? Or is it a national department? I just need to understand that. And for me, this is really a big problem because we don't have enough veterinary surgeons. And my question is, all our vets, when they finish study, they have to do practicals. Can we make use of that? Because this is a critical service for me. If we see how much work they actually do. So for me, and they're actually doing very well on this, foot and mouth disease, all this. This sub-program is doing very well. And we need to find out if we can't support them. Because the vaccinations, they have done very well in that. And then, and just for clarity, sub-program 4.5, Animal Protection Act registration licenses. What is it? I tried to find out, I couldn't find exactly what that is, so I would really like to know exactly what that is. And then Program 6, Agro-Economic Services, sub-program 6.1, Production Economics and Market Support. I want to know an example. What is a new market? Is it export to Thailand? Is it export to Botswana? Or what exactly do we regard as a new market? And then Program 7, 7.2 sub-program, we talk about agri-skills development, and then we said we couldn't achieve our target because the venue was under construction. My question is, was that the only venue available? Couldn't we move the people? I'm just asking because I don't know, it's not written there. And then obviously my question about the CPAs. Do we keep track of our CPAs? Do we know if they are successful? What do we do when there's conflict? And I see there's now a lot of them busy with court cases and all sorts of things. And what do we do with that? Must I go on with quarter 3 or must I stop?
No, I think you've already posed many questions. If I can say, let's say the second set of questions.
No problem.
Just for them to get
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm not gonna bother myself or department by asking indicator per indicator, because when I look at quarter 2 and quarter 3 performance, and even the quarters that have already been presented to us before, you can be able to trace the problematic issues of the problems that the department is unable to come out of, which at the end, it affects service delivery. Number 1, you check quarter 2, quarter 3, you will always find overperformance, non-performance, underperformance, overperformance. And these things, honestly speaking, they are problematic. Number 1, overperformance might be seem like, no, it should be celebrated. But my question is, how do you explain yourself when it comes to overperformance? How do you explain yourself? Because there is no way that you should not have a reason for that. Number 2, underperformance. Underperformance is unacceptable. And if I remember the words of the premier of this province, he committed you and other departments to say, Dinodi change. But when I look at the trend, I don't see that spirit of changing the way we used to do things. We're still talking a lot of English. For an example, contractor non-performance or failure to complete projects in time. You will still say, we'll come up with measures. It's either measures monetary to monitor, catch-up plans. For how long? We have been doing that for how long? Catch-up plans, measures. This is the English that we are very fond of. But honestly speaking, it does not assist us. Contractors are appointed. When you appoint a contractor, you sign a contract which stipulates periods and everything, which must also stipulate penalties. But these things are not happening. The question is why? Malawanyana, we're going around, oversight. There is a farm that I still clearly remember. When we got there, we were just going there for the disaster part of the issues. But when we arrived there is a huge structure which is built by the department. It's not completed in time. And such things raise a lot of questions. And if such things can cause a lot of questions in our minds seated here, what about the people outside there? What are they saying? If it's unpleasant to us to see a project that is funded by the department, that contractor is appointed by you, but the contractor cannot be held responsible or accountable to non-performance, the project is standing still there. The owner of the farm is even started another structure by himself. He might even complete before ours. What does that say to us? Do you know what is the interpretation? The interpretation is that you have eaten man with that person. That is why you can't act against that person. That is the general interpretation, and it might not be correct. But perception is very dangerous. And there is no one who can come and clean out that perception. It's yourselves. Previa already dilo di change jebana. Rena araboni change na no bona skuwa sela sa khalele khani so na go dipuke. Eskom. Ke ning re bereka le Eskom. Every project that we know is need education at the end, we know Eskom will be involved. Now I always ask myself, if Eskom was seated there, were you still going to tell us the same report or the same language? I'm not convinced. Because Eskom will also be complaining, no, the department informed us at this stage or in quarter when the project was initiated in this quarter. We only informed. Are you sure that when you started, you were together? Eskom knew this project by this time it will be at this level of completion, and that's where we need electricity. So that they are also an institution, and we cannot hide up behind them because they are not here. It's not correct. We can't deal with Eskom, even if you tell us so many times. We are not the ones who can facilitate that Eskom play and have the tune which we are dancing to. It's only yourselves. So honestly speaking, to come and tell us about the delay by Eskom and schools and all, Inoboncha Dilo, ACDD Che, Department of Agriculture, non-performance by contractors, underperformance on certain targets which you have targeted yourself. I will exempt you on issues where you are affected by disaster. That is beyond your control. All of us will understand. If you say in quarter 2, there was a very drought, it was serious. After drought, then it was floods. Some of those things we can really understand each other. But this thing, Eskom, signing of contract, can you just imagine? There is one reason that said delayed handover. Handing over of site to a contract. You tell us you have delayed it. What should you do? Who should have made it? It is handed over in time. Because that is the story that we want to hear. It was handed over in time. We monitored the contractor. The contractor did not perform at this stage. We checked him out and appointed another one who's completing by this day. Mara, Nakino was poor, honestly speaking. Was poor, too much. Mara, Ariwonu change, slow progress by the contractor and all these things, honestly speaking. I don't think it's really something that we are expecting in the seventh administration. We need people who will run fast because right now we don't have time as politicians. Time is not on our side. Our people are very, very impatient. So we can't give you time, we can't give you peace and rest when behind us there is fire. We can't. Will not agree, MEC. Will not agree. Coming here and tell us all this stories about Eskom will not agree. One other thing, Chairperson, that you mentioned the issue of resolution tracking, that it must be standing on. Another issue that it must not be left out in their reports. Even if the letter can come and say, come and report on quarter 4 and quarter 4, you must know. We also want to know how you dealt with ages issues. It's very, very critical. We want to know how you have resolved those findings until the last one is resolved. It's very, very critical to this committee. Thank you, Chairperson. Let me pause here.
The official.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. And also greetings to the Honorable Matthew. And also let me
extend to the honorable members of the portfolio committee on agriculture and rural development. I know when you see you are fresh from Scotland, and I will try not to make this one an last. Just to raise 4 issues, at least at a high level. A helicopter level, hoping that I will have a safer runway. Getting the responses that are the first one, Honorable Lennis, which I'm going to give it to you, is that the Citrus Growers Association made a report sometimes last year that Limpopo is the biggest citrus producer in the country. It's number 1 in terms of citrus farming. And that goes to tell you in terms of the work that the department is doing. That I'm going to do. In fact, Citrus Growers Association consists of about 1,400 growers of citrus in the southern Africa. So it goes to tell you how much as a province we are in the map in terms of that aspect. Which immediately takes me to the Vediela citrus. But the Vediela citrus has got the capacity to undermine your standing in terms of what I just said. And I think in the last interaction we had, you did make mention of the fact that you have a master plan to turn around the situation as it were at that level. Perhaps I must then ask the department to take us into the I know that when you talk about the resolution, it will then assist us to move in dealing with item by item in terms of the issues, which does not fall squarely on the report that we have. That obviously will be my first progress in relation to the master plan. That is really the 2, I'm partially covered in terms of the contract non-compliance. But I have a different take because the non-compliance seems to be cutting across almost all of your projects. Whether it's not about a lack of forward planning, you set targets which has got the capacity to undermine your ability to achieve. In a sense, you set yourself for failure. Because there's no project which you will not talk about delay in terms of takeover or delay in terms of the commencement of the project, which obviously will affect the completion of the project. That, of course, would be my second question. The third question, which also proceeds from the last interaction, which I want to believe, if you are to talk about the annual performance plan, which I want to insist, resolution checking will also help in terms of removing aspects of items like this. To say, you then reported about farmers register, which obviously will not report into quarters. And I want to assume it falls on the annual performance plan. And I'm saying, the resolution taking will then help us to help each other to analyze. Because the question was asked, if you say, in terms of this aspect, you said you don't have farmers register in the province, it's the competency of the mathematics. And I still have this question because I want to believe it's not. So, even in terms of how we report the show,
The fourth question relates to the two agricultural colleges. I see they are being renovated. Dompiseleka as well as Malibande. Why? Why are they being renovated? And I'm asking this question deliberately because I know a discussion that we have in relation to perhaps the transfer of the colleges to the Department of Education. Legality that involves that process. But I know there is some work that is being done with the colleges and the person is not. The last question. Because obviously when projects are not being completed, there will be questions of money being taken. And I want to ask a simple and more direct question. How much money was returned to the national fiscals? And to this extent, what then becomes consequence management in terms of if you know, when money is being returned to the national fiscus, it means the people of this province are not getting the services that they need. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Greetings to NEC, the team, and the other members of the staff, and my colleagues this side. I think I was covered on number of issues that were raised by my colleagues here. But I may put an emphasis as the Honorable Minister like to put it. She has already spoken very much on the issue of ESCOM. Planning is very critical. I'm going to be very frank with you, especially MEC yourself. It's so painful when MECs are subjected to the kind of embarrassment just on this that either officials are not giving proper information or that does not mean why? Honorable Minister has already indicated, maybe one day MEC must call ESCOM so that they sit in this meeting. Not necessarily because we want to embarrass officials, but because we want to make sure that the money that is been budgeted for particular project that the ESCOM have to be involved indeed is utilized in that regard. Honorable Mato will agree with me. In his previous responsibility, he knows when he used to deal with these deal with boreholes, even Honorable Chairperson, when you do projects, water projects, most of the time you discover when we want to put too much pressure on ESCOM to connect the boreholes that our officials did not do properly. And it's unfortunate that all the time we would want to blame ESCOM as if ESCOM wasn't. Most of the time, MEC just say, can I get the letters that you've returned to? Now I'm in old school. I still keep an archive file. Because as I print and sign and make a copy, that archive will then say to me, 3 months down the line, visit your archive file and get all the letters that you've written to outside stakeholders, to the external stakeholders, as to whether those letters was written in time to inform ESCOM that we will be implementing project 1, 2, 3, 4 on irrigation system and informal. We may request your services to connect the project. Perhaps one day MEC go to that level and just say, can you show me an example of the letter that is written to ESCOM? Because I can tell you sitting here, if we were to convene ESCOM, the story is going to be different. Somebody slept on it. I think one of the ministers spoke at length on the issue of ESCOM. Let us improve, colleagues. get, we expect to eat. Even her that keep on fasting, when she breaks fast, she wants food. And somebody must have to make sure that that food is produced. But if you look at the projects that have been frustrated through ESCOM, and the food that are the projects that are supposed to produce food in the province and across the province. Let me pass on the issue of ESCOM. I would really want the department to put me on the issue of disaster. You put a target as a target. Sorry. Well, if you look at the report, where's the issue of disaster? When you speak about disaster, I want to know, do you plan it on a zero budget? On the basis that once disaster strikes, we're going to depend on Hofstad to give us money to respond to the disaster. Perhaps you need to help us to understand so that next time when we come, we have an understanding that when we say 10 as a target of disaster response, 600, I think I've seen somewhere 600, talk about 600, I don't know. If you were to put it here, it was going to help me in terms of directing my question properly. Because when you put a target, that target must be followed by, yeah, there you go, 600 budget, 2.4 farmers assisted. So that is a target.
Yeah.
2.4, what, I don't know. Which one is an annual target then? Is it 600? Is it 600?
600 is budget.
Yeah. It's 600 what? 1,000? Million? 1,000. Let's go to the target, 1,437. Is the quarterly target? The annual target. What is that in? It's 12 rand.
No, those
The number of farmers.
number of farmers.
It's number of farmers. You talk about number of farmers and you talk about the budget. Because I'm sitting here and I want to understand from a layman's point of view. I've picked that document from the spirit and I want to even understand it. I'm going to be more confused. And I hope you're with me. If you talk about number of farmers, talk about number of farmers. If you put about a budget, talk about a budget. So that we are all on the same page. Because now let's go to the actual. No budget allocation for the request made to assist farmers on disaster relief during Q2. Disaster budget allocation is currently per given request or as and when required. I think it is called a disaster for a reason. Now listen to your mitigation factor. Practical budget making methods. Is it methods? I want to believe wanted to say methods. Methods. Because English can do that. Is methods. Methods. Please forgive me. I'm not that English. Because so that we are on the same page. For constantly annual budget allocation for disaster mitigation and implementation on disaster systems. Going down, I don't know where I say. But if you look at the mitigation, it doesn't actually speak to the output, let alone the challenge. And I'm saying, you must be judged based on the targets that you put as a department, come AG or come audit. Now, what do we expect AG to say? Let's say AG is coming. There was disaster. Terrible disaster. It was terrible disaster in the province, from the drought to when we waited for rain, now to floods. Now you say to us there was no budget. But who put that target? I don't know. I understand the issue of putting targets as for its own technical, your advice from the Premier on what to do. But perhaps when you go back to ESCO, this is the issue that needs to be discussed. Because I cannot put a budget when I'm going to depend on the other MEC to respond. The MEC that must still depend on national to respond. Then how do we move forward? By the way, MEC, when you stand on that podium in the legislature, you are reading these things. everybody is watching on YouTube, including farmers themselves. That says there is this target that is being put, which means should it happen, I'm going to benefit. Now come the disaster, the department says we are waiting for cost. You will finish, you will see how to finish. But I'm just saying, these are the things that this team that is sitting here must respond when we ask questions. And therefore, MEC must then be confused. So that man that is sitting next to you, Mr. Dube, if he was still in his previous responsibility, imagine if he was going to pin you down on this matter as a media, while everybody is working. Who must respond? It's not the acting HOD, it's not the CF, it's the MEC. That must be subjected to that embarrassment. What must he say? No, we're waiting for Mr. Magamu, who then says, I'm still waiting for National Shade, I'm still making a determination and analysis, and therefore arrive at a determination that says, as a province, within 1 million that must be shared between you and municipalities that must respond to houses, buildings, community halls, schools, because anything that must get a share. Want the schools that roofs were, destroyed based on the disaster. So I'm just saying, maybe you might need to look and revisit how you target. Because unfortunately, the AG when it comes is going to judge you based on your target. Now, they've said a mouthful about the issue of contractors. MEC, I'll speak from a practical point of view. We visited a project in let me just say what happened to be said. You know what is embarrassing about that project is that there are two buildings that are taking place. We were with Mr. Ndeka. There's this one that is implemented by government. There's this one that the farmer is doing himself. Why is this one that is done by the farmer progressing and the one that is done by government progressing? Same build. Yeah, and you don't have to walk maybe 500 meters. It's here. The other one is here. This one is performing. This one by government is not performing. Do you even know the message that you're sending out? I'm just saying, there's something wrong about, let me tell you the most embarrassing one. I wanted to give an example. That one is very embarrassing, I can tell you. I hope you must not even write it in your annual report. How do you talk about the internal processes of supply chain? The pricing, come on, we can't be discussing the pricing, vis-a-vis. I want you to put that in there. I just want to show you how sometimes you subject this government into a local. I wanted to. I want to show you so that you understand what I'm talking about. So it ran away, that thing disappeared.
So it ran away. IT, chase after it ran away.
Because there's no performance of a contractor on the basis that, and the delay of a handover because you were still discussing the pricing with the service provider. Come on, honestly. There was a pricing, there was this study. For me, it's even an administrative issue that must not even find expression on the paper, honestly speaking. Because sitting here, I'm sitting with the Honorable Helen sitting here, saying, what is the capacity of the supply chain? See for you again. Is it because of this between your supply chain officials that Kamina Kawai kind of an approach? This time when you ate it's my time. Because those things are there. They may not be. I'm just saying. MEC, your contractual management processes, the contractual issues, I think they're not in order and they'll keep on embarrassing you. I can tell you. Now, I gave you an example when we were in that project that if a project, CFO, if a project is supposed to be implemented in the 2024-2025 financial year, it could not be complete. Now, which budget MEC, or where are you going to get the money? Suppose that project, or suppose you don't get a rollover, and that project is still sitting at 60% completion. Now it means then you are going back to Peter, or Peter to pay Paul. which pit are you robbing? Because all farmers must be which project are you going to rob in order to make sure, because that project must be complete. So for me, and you can't keep on saying we'll monitor. There's somebody who's entrusted with the responsibility to monitor the service provider, and that person is not. And when we are going to say we demand consequence management, it's like we are not fair. We are being unfair, we are saying people must be chased too. Honestly speaking, talk about it, that a disability project that cannot benefit on irrigation system, because somebody just chose to be in his comfort zone. A disability project that's supposed to be funded by government. And we are sitting here, all of us. God, we are able. By the way, if you're not disabled, you are able. God gave us an opportunity to be able in order to assist those that are disabled. But what are we doing? It's like we're throwing this thing at their feet. So I'm just saying, some of these things, honestly, MEC, surely you need to be. And surely you need to, I can tell you. Because now, my last question is going to be on the issue of, because you just have to privilege us. This is the end of the financial year, 2 weeks. But I'll come on that one. The placement of graduates. I know the target 135, quarterly target 135, 139 is an output. I don't know whether it's an error. 135 annually and 135 quarterly. I don't know whether it's an error or that's how it should be. If it's not an error, then you can then say 139 output. I don't know that, but you'll just clarify whether it's an error or it's how it's supposed to be done. Now then, so that thing is gone forever.
It's coming. She's trying to chase it.
How are you performing in terms of 30 days payment of service providers? I'm interested. I'm interested in that one. Your performance on 30 days payment of invoices. Because that is going to will then tell us the story. If you're not performing on that one, then that's why it culminates to all these problems. So if I can be clarified on those ones, I may come back for follow-up, but for now, MEC, when we decorate your speech, you are saying you always a food basket, you are saying we are a food basket. Are we saying that? We are a food basket, right? But the people that are carrying the empty basket are supposed to be showing colorful, your banana yellow, your green, whatever, mangoes, whatever. They're sitting there, they're frustrated because service providers are clowning at their own, in their own faces, are supposed to be carrying. One day they're going to be carrying empty baskets. I can tell you. Because we spoke about this thing in our briefing to say, you can't have an imaging contractor for 10 years. Something's not right. You can't keep on doing imaging contractor. And you've got a budget that says support farmers. So I'm just saying, we need to pull our socks, honestly speaking. And see, with this performance, I don't see you people moving to a green audit. You are unqualified, unqualified?
Unqualified.
But with this case, I'm hopeless in terms of us moving to a green audit. You are a very small department. But also, MEC, you must also tell us why are we not moving in terms of appointing? Because senior management is on your table. And you've got critical, acting HOD, acting TDG, yeah. Yeah, you need to deal with that as urgent as possible. We know in terms of the Department of Agriculture, specialists and all those things, because if you lose them, and that will be very detrimental to the department. So I'm just saying, colleagues, honestly, come on, we can do better. We can do better. But I'm interested in the response on the performance of contractors. What is your monitoring system? Because if in the first quarter you said the same statement, second quarter you said the same statement, that you'll monitor and monitor. Third quarter you're still saying we'll monitor and monitor. So surely that's what we'll get in the first quarter, that you're going to monitor and monitor and monitor. In this monitoring, what are you doing? on this thing. Marina remember very well that contractor. Who was that contractor? Who's that contractor who know? Todan. We've been singing about that Todan construction. Come on, Todan is playing there in the ground. He's playing with our people, Todan.
He's playing with someone.
And by the way, when we are sitting here, we have got an incomplete infrastructure. At that time, the farmer experienced disaster. Here is an infrastructure system that the department is constructing. It's not complete. There's not even hope when it's going to be complete. And we don't know how are you going to assist those people who have money, because I can tell you, I mean, see, if money goes back to China from this department, disaster is even bad. Please, yeah, we're all finished. Please, not even a cent. Not this department. There are certain departments that can do that. You see, if MEC Masebo fail to buy soccer boots, and the kids who can still survive. But if we return money from this department when people are waiting for assistance down there, and I think for now, challenging because
Honorable Mukawa, you are not but I know you have got questions.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to buy it to that extent. So, Honorable MEC, we are just already about the expenditure. As honorable members have already admitted about it. So it's a problem. So we don't know, and we don't want to blame you much, because we blame the officials, because at the end of the day, whatever is happening, and everything that is happening goes back to the politicians, as the politicians are not doing anything else is the officials. So Honorable MEC, as Honorable Wafati said, just try by all means to resolve. Because at the end of the day, whenever the scandal that goes back to the politicians, they will say, it's Honorable Ketana, it was Honorable Mukawa, one of the way, you understand? I'm going to the Mogojuana, but it's just a loss. So, he believes all of us, we just need to take responsibility and make sure that we make changes. People must not just go to the department for the sake of getting salary. We need to make changes. And I always tell people that all of us, we need to be a very good, clean leaders behind. It is that leaders is not for politicians, it is for all of us. If we are doing good, we are doing it for our children. So, because if we mess up everything, so we just need to pull up our socks. I don't think I have much, because I just wanted to check with the MEC or whatever interest, just to empower the committee on what measures are in place to ensure that the allocated budget for the current year is fully utilized while still adhering to the appropriate financial, financial government. And also, on your we know very well that as long as it's all under expenditure, that thing it affects our farmers, especially in our rural communities. So we just wanted to check with the MEC, or is there anything that you are going to do to change this thing? Because our farmers there, especially in the rural areas, this is where they rely. So if things are not repaired, it becomes a problem. And also, for future projection and risk mitigation, what step is the planning taking to ensure that under expenditure does not persist in the coming quarter? And also the monitoring. Honorable members, issue of monitoring is a problem not only to the Department of Agriculture but to government at large. Because if you can check, we used to have cooperatives that governments gave the money, but at the end of the day when you check behind there is nothing, because we give money, but if when coming to monitoring then it becomes a problem. And when we come here then we said, colleagues, legally challenge this idea, because as long as they give money to them, you don't do the follow-up, you do nothing. At the end of the day, every cent in government you must account for it. It doesn't matter whether you give to the cooperative or what. So this is a problem whereby we just want to see changes existing from now on, that with everything that we do, it can be the programs or whatever, but let's just try and always to follow up. This kind of government that play a handua usually challenge, and then we forward to challenge at the end of the day, because not anything that's that good. And also go felice. Come just give me okay, let me just leave there, then I will hand over to you. Because a lot of things, Honorable Rafale and Honorable already said, because you are going to repeat one thing, all of us. So I think for me for now, okay.
All right, thank you very much, Chairperson and MC. But I just want to ask just one question about subsistent farmers. How many subsistent farmers were financially assisted in quarter 2 and quarter 3? You spoke about monetary system, which the point that I was just coming to make. I just want to know if the department is just getting the report from these farmers even after they have assisted them financially. So those are the two questions that I want to ask.
Yeah, Chairperson, thank you very much. It's been a long day today. From Luwapo, and we are sitting here. I always say there are people who can sit in a discussion until 4 a.m. and they enjoy it. And I'll always count myself amongst them. There's one man who's popular now in the world for all good and bad reasons. Now, I want to start by mentioning him so that we can pick something out of him. You know this crazy man from America? Donald Trump. Yeah. Is liked by many and hated by many. But I'll tell you one thing good about him. He takes decisions. That's one thing fundamental. You will discuss whether the decision was correct or wrong. Trump takes decisions. He wakes up in the morning and says, in my country there are two genders. You are either male or female. End of story. And you start to... And he removes women from this other cell and moves people amongst the stars in prison. Say, come here. Where's the idea that made or good to the other person? You see, MSC, we need to adopt an approach where we're able to move and move very fair. It's not exciting to come and sit here and here we're underperforming, we're returning money. What is that? So you are there and money is going back. And now people are crying on the ground. You're sitting at 67 now. I don't know how many days do you still have to have this money spent. If I were in charge, I was going to say, please, procurement, what is happening, what is happening, and sign, so that we finish the money. And request for, what do you call it, adjustment, what do you call it? Now, I don't know why are you scared of spending money that is not yours, doesn't come back to you. What is the problem? It's not your money. Spend it, finish it. Mawa is there, is waiting for you to finish money early and say, we have a shortfall. But you want to take it back, it's not going to come back. You know, those who are drawn from that school of accounting and economics, when you don't spend this year, probably know you don't deserve that amount of money I'm giving you. So I must consider to chop. Now, this province is known for farming. I said in one meeting we were discussing the issue of economic development, and I identified this department and other departments, right? I said with agriculture we can go far, because we are farming everywhere. Every region in this province has got farming activities, but there's nothing happening there. Acting HOD and MEC, one of the things that must end here, the first meeting I had in my life when I started to join these processes, I said in a committee, economic development, I said, MEC, all these faces that have been sitting in the boards, when you appoint the new boss, they must not come back. That was my introduction and greeting to all of those people. Unfortunately, at the ultimate end, a lot of them are not back as board chairpersons. That is very important. You know what? These acting things here must come to an end if you want to be changing things around. Now, you know, a person who acts is just there. They are, you know, it goes slow. You should know better. You are in the state and government. People come to office and say, oh, no, go slow. You don't perform functions because they say, oh, you don't want to sing, but you want to go slow. So I know for a fact, people who are acting in responsibilities cannot give it the full force as opposed to a person who's there full time. We need to fix that. These chief directors must be confirmed. If they can't be confirmed, let's get other skills. Advertise MEC. If NAPE is not willing to release the money, let us know who are going to engage in as politicians. Because we are aware there's always an interest of high positions when it comes to that office of, what do you call him? What is that person? DG. What is NAPE Chavile? We are aware he's always having an interest and it's making life of departments very difficult. And I've told you that your operation of permanent interference, even when your hand can't reach, you want to stretch. You are frustrating departments. And when you come here, now we even forgot it's him. We lash on you. So we must fill these vacancies. Advertise, MEC, shortlist even those who are acting. Don't do things that we have seen in other areas. Where a person acts for 3 years, they give you clean audit. When you shortlist, they are not there. We are going to have problems. I have no candidate amongst those who are acting. I don't even know their names properly, but they introduce themselves. But I'm saying, advertise, shortlist, and allow those who are acting to be shortlisted. It's not possible that I act for 3 years. When you shortlist it, don't shortlist me. Don't do those things. We are seeing them every day. So, and those of you who are acting must also act very firmly so that we shortlist you. Then you can contest for space after being shortlisted. Then we can move somewhere. Let's deal with this thing of, I don't want to speak about it, but let me touch it. This thing of Todani.
Yeah, Todani.
I'll pick Todani alone, but there are many. I don't know who's responsible for contracts in your department. That person who's responsible for contract, one day they must come here. Chairperson, in our future meeting, you must make a special request. We want to sit with the person here, bring here. It's very hard, these things of yours are not big. So, and I've been having coffee here before I started this meeting. We want the person responsible for contracts, so that they can explain to us how are they putting their contracts together. Not CFO and HOD. That unit that is responsible for contracts between the department and the service provider. So that we can check, Mara, honestly. From my poor legal background, every contract has got a provision for termination without compensation, the same way we are going to take land without compensation. There is always a provision. So why do you have both Odani failing to discharge a responsibility? And that funding is from government. That thing that he has been failing to do there, it's 9 million rand, right? It also left me wondering that this man that you have given that money has been able to put the same structure for the same amount of money. I'm like, how did this one qualify to get this funding? You see, you're getting us worried. Kimatlo, we are giving him 10 million to build the structure. We hire Kodai fails. Then Matlo, out of his own pockets, starts the same structure and is finishing it. What do we consider here before we take our money? What will we consider? That man has capacity. He has built it, it's there. I don't know the name of the farm, but he has built a structure, it's even complete than this one of Todan. Now I'm wondering, how does the department identify farmers who must be assisted? Because that man is affording, he has got resources, he has muscles. In fact, that thing is embarrassing. If the people can know about it, they are going to start asking questions. How do you identify people in his hand? Here's an example. Why don't you show Elena Lipidi. You know, child openly. I don't know Peter. Was Gary Jali Peter. That young man there would not have been the ideal farmer to give that amount of millions because he has capacity for that infrastructure. Let's move forward. You must deal with Todan. Next meeting, we want the contract manager to explain to us why is Todan in that space. Let's proceed. Then, in fact, oh yes, one of the resolutions this meeting must take is to terminate that contract of Todan. We'll deal with legal consequences and financial losses if there are any about Todan. And it's not only Todan, there are many others. You must begin to cut one by one. We must take a decision that Todan must exit that area. And if that's why I'm interested in the contract. Let's move on. There's this thing of CPAs, MEC. I'll tell you a nice story about CPAs. African men and women who have been robbed of their land had a chance to claim it and get it back. Unfortunately, the pieces of land which were more productive that black people got have been turned into a history of themselves. Now, in this province, we don't have an organized process to manage these communal property associations. And I don't know why we're doing it. We've got what we call Communal Property Act. Those people are governed by a specific act of the law in this country. I'll give you two provinces where they are practicing it quite very, very well. One in Northwest. Every 3 years, all CPAs are taken to what we call their elective conferences properly. They are governed properly, they are managed properly, they are being taken care of. It's also happening in the Northern Cape province. Now we can be, that province is a region to us. Northern Cape is a region in Limpopo, it's not a province. But we are failing. We even have the skill here, we have capacity. We can organize all these communal property associations and put them under one roof, put them in one chieftaincy, what we call chief directorate. Allocate one and say from today, in the next financial year, we are putting aside 5 million rands. We want to establish a system to monitor the CPAs. If we can get that one right, Honorable Hassan Govin, we are going to find a way to resolve the Zepeti and Asco. The challenge in that area, it's largely about the communal property association that is there. And because we are not organized to that size, we are not there. That thing will be a former history of itself. We are not going to get oranges there. That's why doctors are making money by June, July. All of us are sick. We don't get an orange to eat. We have closed the shop to deliver oranges. Now there's no vitamin C, Honorable Chair. We are going to have challenges. So let's please find a way to deal with that one so that we're able to move. The last issue I want to touch is this thing of consequence management. Hey, I'm not sure how we're going to arrange it. But there must be a way. Internal. I don't know why I'm scared of charging each other. Me now, I was going to move a lot of you and send you home. Oh yeah, you send you home. You'll reapply in the future and be employed by someone else as well. Some of the reasons why we are not moving here, someone says, but this is embarrassing. It's because when For an example, for a lack of a better surname, when Mawunda is out of order, you don't attend to him. You leave him and he thinks it's normal. Then he continues, and politicians are the ones who must suffer. You are making our lives very difficult, and unfortunately you are not there. And because of the system of where we stand with each other, you'll never be there. No one is ever going to come to you and make noise with you. They always make noise with these ones of politicians. The last issue I want to speak to, can the department try to explore the issue of this sort of green energy? Because you are now having a crisis of ESCOM. ESCOM is failing to feed us in our own homes. Simple. In our own homes, we are failing. It's failing. Because of the challenges that it is facing as well. Leona ESCOM is not like that. It's suffering from internal people not charging each other when the need arise. So you want us to have what? A green scheduling of the funds and other things. It can't work like that. The last thing I want to mention, MEC, we want a meeting with you and your team. We are going to make a submission of a list of questions that we want you to go and prepare. We'll give you a list. We've got a lot of questions. And these are continuous questions. We've raised them before. I'll give you 2 of them just so that you start thinking again. I once sat there, and I said, we want to know how many state farms have we leased to people. Are they doing what they said they are going to do with them? And I've asked you a question, where is our Angolus? Is it Angolo or what? Those Nguni's. The Nguni's. I'm giving another set of examples. We still have an interest. We want to understand how the breeding. If we are going to give you a list, MEC, acting HOD, we are going to, when the letter comes, this time around, it will not miss an article or an item, the one we have missed today of resolution checking. Please come and respond to all those questions. And we want those responses before your budget. We are not going to approve budgets for things that we don't understand. We are not going to clap hands. Some of us are not hand clappists. We want you to come and give us answers to the questions we have so that we look as to whether this man that you say we must allocate, should Mawai do that or not. And we're not going to put time, but we need that meeting before. Put the timelines now is before MEC comes to the work home and present the budget. On that day, we're not going to clap as MEC if we don't have that meeting. Yeah, we're going to mobilize, no hand clapping for MEC for agriculture today. Even when we are going to the podium, it will be a sign of a protest. We want to understand these things. These are questions we are meeting outside. So that we can help with you. Otherwise, I think I'm going to end it here. I'll head over to this one here next to me called Mako, Honorable Mako. Please raise the issue side, coached you on. Oh, sorry, Chairperson, thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, we are elders. At all given times, we are very resilient to young people when they become it. We like it so much. One thing for sure, Chair, I'm very pleased. You know, I'm one person who could have raised an issue. When we started, all members of the SMS were noting. And it really, I was really impressed because if they were not noting, I was going to call you to call them to order. They were noting all the things that you've been raising here, and I really appreciate it because it seems that you've been able to respond collectively, not only the acting HOD. But it's what I've seen, Chair, and I'm quite impressed with it. I'll concentrate on quarter 2, and I really appreciate that you came with a report that speaks to the budget expenditure of quarter 2 standing at 448 million, which constitute to have been 5% of the total budget. Accumulatively, from the previous period, we are standing around 823 million, which is 46% as per what the HOD has said. And as a department, you have set 56 targets for quarter 2, out of which you only achieved 46, and 11 were never achieved. One was achieved but not initially a target. I will come to that one because I also want to raise other issues with you
HOD. The first question will be saying, out of your disaster relief assistance to farmers, your target was on 200 on the same quarter, but the reasoning for you for not achieving anything, you said no budget allocated for quarter 2. Why did you put it at quarter 2? If there was no budget allocated for that activity on quarter 2, why did you put it on quarter 2? Because you could have served 200 farmers, you failed because there was no budget on quarter 2. Why is it becoming a target on quarter 2? You are confusing us. Because you can't put a target and don't put a budget. It doesn't speak to the matrix of how you run your own affairs as a department. You know, you had several challenges, and I believe that you spoke about them, the delay in the inputs, and I think my colleague here spoke about it, the contractual obligations of each and every person who has been given a contract at the departmental level. That there are obligations that he or she must undertake and fulfill, and if they are not fulfilled, termination should happen immediately, or there should be consequences. And if those consequences for a contractor not happen in chair, and Honorable MEC, they must happen to somebody who is responsible to dealing with contracts. It can be. If you are saying this person, there was an item when you say delay in appointment, I ask myself, how does it become a delay to hand over a project because you have already appointed that person? Unless if there was storm and also disaster of water, you couldn't pass to go to Tavazimbi because the whole Crocodile River has flooded the road to Tavazimbi. I will understand you. You don't have a chopper where you can say you go through a chopper because you are a poor product. That is well understood. But how possible is it that that happens? A delay in terms of that. I think the HOD will come and tell us on your performance in terms of quarter 2 HOD. You got 100% on how many of them? 5 programs were on 100% in terms of your 8 programs, and 2 of them were above 80%. Your APSD and your VS, and below 70% but above 60% was one, your SRUM. I call it SRUM, is your abbreviation. You know what do I mean by SRUM. To me, it still says you are around 82% in terms of total average as a department in that quarter 2. And it doesn't augur me well with me because if you have been at 100%, it's only 1 program that is pulling you down, sustainable resource use and management, where you had 17 targets and only 11 targets were achieved. Including the one that pulls you down was around 81%, agricultural producer and support development, where you are speaking about a lot of vacancies. And it comes back to you, Honorable MEC, that these vacancies are the one that causes the department not to perform in that contract. What is it that we need to do as a remedial action as a department? I will now go straight to questions, Honorable Chair, because I'm still sticking to quarter 2. I have not yet went to quarter 3. When I go to quarter 3, questions will be more in terms of that. The issue of ESCOM, it has been hinted around, and you said out of the farmers that you should have helped, out of 20, you helped only 10 because there was a problem in terms of ESCOM. The same issue that Honorable Rakwale has alluded to, whether we did our planning in advance in relation to the project in question, that when the project starts, we immediately also contact ESCOM for issue of connectivity, because that is key. Area of planning, whether we were proactive in the planning or we waited for the project to be completed, we started following up on ESCOM. Also, the division in question should also respond to that. And Honorable, let me see, if that is the case, was there not an issue of advancing towards alternative energy sources? We are a province, a rural province in Limpopo. We are building big power stations in terms of alternative energy that is going to supply on the grid of ESCOM. From where I'm coming from, Honorable Chair, in my village, that project of, what do you call it, solar panel project, it has taken around 70 hectares of my village. They are building that into the grid. Can it be possible that small projects like the disability program, you opt for alternative energy? Whilst waiting for ESCOM, even when ESCOM comes, the alternative energy will still remain and make sure that you don't utilize much of the ESCOM resources. You'll continue using alternative energy where it doesn't work. When it's cloudy, you can switch on to ESCOM. Now, whether those things were not looked into, because it seems the program took a lot of time. Now, does the achievement of the unplanned target indicated in terms of underspending or misaligned the target with actual capacity? What do I mean by that? If you go to your underachievement in the same quarter 2, pardon me, Chair, I must just go to my referral. Yeah, underachievement in terms of quarter 2. I've raised that one of 200 in terms of you putting 200 and targeting, achieving 0. But the one for veterinary science, you were targeting 1.288. Your achievement was at 644, which is roughly 50% of what we've achieved. And now you are raising. You are saying you have got an issue in relation to vacancy posts, but the solution is for you to fill up those vacancy posts, because if they are budgeted, if they are funded, why can't you fill up those vacancy posts? The same goes to the one of hectares cleared. I think honorable member who spoke for the first time, she spoke whether in terms of the invasive plants, what type of invasive plants are they? But there I will give you archaeologues from 500 at least we have done 340 hectares, which is quite an achievement. The other question, Chair, that I will ask in relation to quota 2 is in relation to your agricultural economic service and also the rural development for the previous 2 quotas. While there was always under expenditure in terms of the 2 programs. In the previous 2 quotas, there was under expenditure, and presently there is under expenditure. I just wanted to check why that has been consistently happening in that particular regard. The repetition in terms of ESCOM and other issues, I think they've been clarified by colleagues. I won't go deeper into it. I think we'll get an answer why, in essence, we're not alternatively going to the other source of energy that we believe can be helpful. The Kopano disabled drip irrigation project. How old is this project? And how long has ESCOM been elusive or what, or not connecting to the project? And what impact does it give to the project in question? Because to me, it deals with people with disability who are differentially gifted amongst our society. The last question, Chair, it will be how does the department plan to address the staffing vacancy that contribute in terms of you not performing in other programs? Because for me, if you don't employ more, those programs will continue to suffer. The same way in relation to your VS program, whether we'll be able to roll out a program to those rural areas where we come from. I can give you a typical example. I'm a small-scale farmer myself, only my own right. But you know, in my community where I come from, you find that it is difficult for them even to access it, dipping their cattle. Extremely difficult. Where are our extension officers? With those who are private and possibly able to buy sprays and other things on their own, they will do their own cattle. But our own people there on the ground, I can tell you, I'll take a picture of a dipping crop. Dipping of my village. You will typically collapse because by so that you can block, you can manage how the cattle goes into the dip. Whereas you've got a department, you've got extension officers, there are people who must be able to come up and say, this one is getting old, we must start buying you must get a contractor, you must start. Even where I come from, you don't need a contractor. Just buy those poles, give them to us. We'll install them. That is the way we've been doing it historically. These are the type of the issues I will post the chair. I will come on if you give us round 3 and round 2. If you are going to give us round 2, I will go to quarter 3. But if you don't, it means I must kill myself and do it now. But for now, I'll post there and request the department to respond to some of the issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable members. Just got 1 or 2 questions. Let me see. With regard to African animal outbreak that is affecting our crops. What are the plans from the department to assist those affected farmers? The issue of spending is a problem in all the spheres, even at home. When the father gave the mother money to buy a cruiser, and the mother doesn't buy cruiser, vice versa. It's a problem. Because the money must be spent. The money is there. As long as the money is there, it needs the home bodies to utilize the money. So I don't should and I just want to be honest with you. And remember, the communities with their own hands, time, going to the meeting and appoint us to come and help them, and we are unable to help them. And as a man, it's you are failing our own communities. You took over, but you are not doing what you said you want to do. Now we are on the eve of the financial year. But there is no promise that you are going to spend the money that we have. We promise, every single day we promise that the whole important to say, right now with their basket, that's how basket by Sunday, support the Lama by Sunday. You'll be lying in this now. So now I'm saying if 18 HOD, CFO, all of you, if you are going to return money back to treasury, prepare the resignation letter. You must just prepare the resignation letter. I'm telling you, now we can't afford to be reshuffled MEC because of you. I can't really hear the good one. Why are you making it so difficult? Now I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Lena, prepare your resignation because I have a signature for them. When the money comes, we're not going to say it. And you're not going to allow our MBC or for doing the Sakwan. I don't know, I don't know again Sakwan. I can say well now I want to clarity from you officials. Let me do Anna respect the this relationship. Kenyan relationship. Those percentage now for me, from where we come from. All of us, we come from the different institutions where we must respond. Well, charity, this is paying. And it was suspended like that. We suspend the audit period. Including, you are not a spender. I'm not as long as you are getting paid at the end of the month. What about the poor communities outside? You're not ashamed. You are not ashamed of the poor communities. I know what they're depending on this department. When you see every time I'm about the department is the core department of how for our things. You're like, overfull. If I can't say a job with Beijing, if I can't say I'm not Beijing, you're not Beijing. But what I'm not going to plug at what you are. The issue, Jerry project, Jerry Safari, it is also a problem. I can help appoint a contract, a validity contract manager. How many are going to get? Project managers. Never going to get less than feelings. Are we missing them? What is it that you are doing? Musala. Zira. Kile vile honorable era kwa yale kamina kwa. Lenye corona kana mbwa. Wala wana nduda. Bo honorable Malik. All the project is taken. They must make sure that Bamala Mamalo when I didn't achieve more. We know it's a process. Marakaba shooting it to me. Gavin shooting it to me. Process on site because it is time being long. Just progress. We are not progressing because of them. And I'm not saying we're not family job. We are families. Unless if we are kitty extended families, those contractors. So let me see, we are very much serious about our communities, about service delivery. I think every one of us, including the officials, we want to shine. Come on, shine like it. La femme, no femme. Only the junior go back, I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you to Papa, I'm going to say, oh my, one femme. Director, what I want to I don't really fast organized and to share. So that this pandemic was suspended. Nothing about what are the measures put in place and the remaining percentage. That's my interest. That the remaining percentage or another spend who have never told you never go to today. Never go to nature told you, MEC, we are not going to spend. Let's say what we are not going to spend. Issues here, MEC, we are going to list them. Of course, we want them to get expression. Whose speeches are house budget. So the committee is requesting. The sooner, the better. It's going to jail now over we don't forget issue air budget. Also the resolution, also the job. But now, only these two African animals and the budget or the spending of the budget. Let me see. What's the time to respond?
opportunity to welcome and acknowledge the contributions we have made. It's really developmental and progressive, and we are going to make sure that everything that we have said, we are going to give the ground running in order to implement each and every concern that we have raised today, in particular on the issue of the list of questions, of course, we responded to before the budget speech, because you are doing this precisely because you know that people are their own characters. When you speak, you know for the fact that what you are speaking is true or not, because they are the ones that are directly affected on the ground. So let me take this opportunity to welcome all the comments, the inputs, and indeed from the questions that we have raised. I have notified and even listed all of them one by one, from Honorable M up to the last question raised by Honorable Upama Buza, so that when I accord the officials the opportunity to respond in case they miss anything, I must be in the position to remind them. And so that it will also enable myself when I go back to the respective department to follow up on everything that was raised by members of the portfolio committee. So we thank you so much. So without much ado, I think I'll just attempt to respond maybe with one or two questions, and the rest of the questions will be responded to by the HOD, and not only the HOD but all the directorates who are sitting here in front of you. And also to dwell on the issue of filling in of the vacancy positions. I think I will respond only on the senior management position vacancies, and therefore other vacancies, the acting HOD and the team will respond to that. This one because it's a direct competent of the office of the MEC, as they are the most strategic positions, to say sitting here and the position of the advertised HOD is in progress. The closing date is on the 7th. Yeah, which is Friday. And we'll make sure that indeed after the closing date we run quickly with it in terms of the issue of the composition of the panel for shortlisting and interviews. And also I'm happy to report that in our list we were also able to appoint the Chief Director for Strategy and Systems, Monitoring and Systems, fresh from the box, who has just assumed the office from the 1st of March, Mrs. Mashiani. She's here with us, and we thank her for having trust in the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. And we are only left with one position. Mashama Intes.
Not Mashama.
Not Mashama, I'm sorry. Mashama Intes.
Welcome to the Programmatic Department.
My
home make changes.
Thank you so much. And the remaining position will be the one for regulatory, which we have advertised, and the advert has closed, and we are waiting for the process of shortlisting. And very soon we also make sure that those positions are filled. And I also want to indicate that most of the things that we've been doing for the previous 8 months that I'm in office, I was able to visit or rather attest to what you are saying because of my efforts to make sure that I don't sit in the offices. So when honorable members mentioned Kildani construction, I was quick to remember that this one is the SL and Sons. When there, even before we can even go there, in my first month of the commencement of duty, I went there and the construction was up and running by then, but ultimately it stopped. So the officials will give answers pertaining to that. I don't want to dwell much on them, but let me take this opportunity to applaud the acting HOD and maybe on the issue of the CPAs that are operating in terms of the CPAs Act. I want to indicate that we have taken steps because we have realized the shortfalls that is there in terms of the reporting mechanism between Department of Agriculture and the Department of Land Reforms and Rural Development. So by the fact that they have their offices here responsible to look into the issues that are emanating from the province, I've then agreed with the acting HOD to say in the next meeting of the management meeting, they must form part of the management meeting so that they are able to account to every issues emanating from the community members or the farmers regarding the issue of land, because they are the ones who have the answers. We only come into contact with them when we have to extinguish fire that will be happening from the community members who then seek assistance from us. Because community members, they cannot separate between the competencies of the provincial department and the national department. Indeed, it's one government, and it's true. When they come to us, we must be readily available with the answers. So hence, I said to the ATHOD that you must write a formal letter, and if it's not happening, I'm going to report saying to the MINMEC meeting. So I hope and believe that they will attend, and all the issues pertaining to land will also have answers. And if possible, if you call us to, they must form part of all these oversight committees, your SCOPA, your portfolio committee, so that they are able to be answerable to the questions raised by the portfolio committee. I'm going to raise this with the minister during the MINMEC, because at MINMEC, Department of Land and Rural Development, because they don't have the department in the provinces, they invite us. But in terms of communicating to us, in terms of the progress, they are not. So that's why we said vividly that they need to come and also account for their issues. And I thank you so much. And I'm going to afford the acting HOD to respond together with the team to respond to the rest of the questions.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nisi, Chairperson and members. Let me take this opportunity and appreciate the questions raised, your valuable inputs that you have made. And as the ministers already admitted that we have been capturing everything that you have raised as questions of clarity, seeking answers from us, and I think we are sharing the same sentiments. Maybe in summary, all the issues that were raised revolves around the project management cycle. I think we must admit that as a department we need to take note of that and improve on our project management cycle. And the reasons for variance, some of the reasons for variance that we had alluded to,
as you were raising and trying to figure out how did we capture this, it's mainly purely our internal control systems that are in place, something that we should actually pay attention to, our domestic issues that should not actually find its expression today in this committee, and we've taken note of that. But however, just to make, to give you a comfort, honorable members and chairperson, we had employed stringent measures in trying to develop a service delivery improvement plan for us to expedite our performance and financial performance. As we stand here today, we are more than, in terms of financial performance, we are above 80%. And we are much aware that returning the money or surrendering money to treasury, especially for conditional grant, you can't even surrender the money for conditional grant. It is a criminal offense. We are quite aware of that.
Yes.
And I know that honorable members, they're saying they don't want to hear English on catch-up plans, recovery plans, and all these corrective measures that we've put in place, and I agree. Personally, I do agree with you, because what we need to do, we need to be able to showcase in terms of the work that we're doing, that it's really adding value to the people that we serve. But what we can say is that we are, we advise and strategic leadership from our MEC. We are having meetings on a daily basis, trying to track our budget performance, and where we are, I think we are on track. Honorable Chairperson, there is no need for us to write resignation letters.
Oh, God.
And over and above that, I would like to put this on the record, that there are other contributory factors that are beyond our control. Agriculture is dependable primarily on climatic conditions. I don't want to take that as light. For us to be able to plant, to provide support to subsistence and smallholder farmers, for them to plow or to plant, we need to have rain. And we know that during first quarter, second quarter, we had serious high temperatures wherein we had drought. That is why we had black frost and all these disaster-related issues. So we are trying our level best. On non-financial performance, the measures that we've put in place that we are regarding them as surely we will make sure that we push it at least above 97% of performance, taking into cognizance of other contributing factors that are beyond our control. And we'll be able to demonstrate in the committee, because I believe that as a collective, we will assist each other for us to be able to perform accordingly in making sure that we have an effective and service delivery to the people that we serve on the ground. I will respond to a few questions. We have technocrats amongst us who are going to assist, but maybe the approach that we should take, colleagues, is for us not to still repeat the reasons that we have captured, is to find solution, and so that we can be able to assist and be progressive in the meeting. On the issue of colleges, yes, there are transferring processes that are underway, spearheaded by our national department, DARAD, but at this present moment, the colleges are within our custody. There is no way we can put our children in an environment that is not conducive. If you look at the state of our colleges, as we speak, we are not complying with the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Therefore, that is why you see we have got a revitalization program that we have put in place so that we can make that environment conducive. the issue of water is a basic need. We cannot say because the colleges are being transferred to national, so the students should suffer, they should not get water. So those are the issues that we are really attending to, the basic needs at our disposal in making sure that the environment is really conducive for the people or the students that we are responsible of. So it's work in progress. At the end, the colleges will still remain in the book. Whether they have been transferred to the national or it's still within us, it is our colleges. It's for developmental purposes. On the state funds, I think the MEC has already alluded to that. What we will do, this is the responsibility of our sister department for rural development. But we do have the provincial shared services. What would you do from here? We're not even going to wait for those questions. We are going to write straight to them and request the list of the state farms, list to farmers, and how this period and how are they being utilized, and whether they're being utilized for the intention that was for. That one we will do, and the MEC has already guided us that in our meetings we need to roll them in, because as our mandate is to provide agricultural support to those lands, we also need to know the state lease funds so that we can be able to provide support, as it were. The administration of the CPA, because it's one of our drawbacks for developmental purposes, when you find that there are conflicts happening, protests, and it's delaying the progress of the development. And there is an act, I fully agree with you, but the effectiveness of the management of that act is still the responsibility of our sister department. But then, as they are going to be part of our executive management meeting, I think we would, as a collective, assist each other in making sure that we effectively and efficiently implement the management, the act, the CPA Act, as it were. Where the CPAs are not showing any level of commitment, I think there should be some actions or resolutions taken against them. Then unically, we do have a database, we do have reports, and we will provide such in terms of how to manage the unically distribution schemes to our farmers, how many farmers have been benefited, and all this process for will be able to provide. The under expenditure on the agricultural economies and rural development, I agree. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, yes, the underspend. However, it is as a result of the funds that we are actually supposed to transfer to our implementing agent. In this case, is the impact catalyst, which we had not planned to transfer in those quarters under review. We had already transferred the money, 14 million to LEADER, and we are in the process of transferring 3 million to our impact catalyst for Majeje and citrus. So we don't have a problem. There's no underspend expenditure. We are going to spend 100% of the allocated budget. There was a comment from Honorable Rafali on the issue of our forward planning, especially compliance to our service development side by us and the contractors, and we're acknowledging the fact that I think we need to improve our contract management. It is not up to where it's supposed to be. There is inefficiency in terms of contract monitoring process, and we will really try our level best to improve when coming to it. I don't think that in the next report, those find the reasons that we've captured will still capture that as a reason for non-residence. Why are we not filling posts, highly critical posts? Yeah, I don't think something that is very challenging on us. I guess the committees are aware that the recruitment process is centralized, number one. Number two, our economic outlook has worsened. There was a study which was conducted by National Treasury within the agricultural sector in all the provinces in respect of COP. And the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development in the province will have been labeled, or it was found that we are one of the departments that has got a very high employee per capita salary in terms of the COP expenditure. We are above the norm. As we sit here, our COP budget is 63%, which is above the national norm of 54%. So, time and again, when we are requesting for the post to be filled at Treasury, they refer us to say, you need to find ways and means to reduce your COE. It's very high, you must develop the COE reduction strategy so that you be able to be in the national norm. It's a debate that we are engaging them with. We are service delivery oriented as a department. Agriculture is one of the departments that is more labor intensive. So we can't be compared with, especially our demographic outlook. We can't be compared with agriculture as Western Cape and so forth. But what I want to bring home is that for us to be able to fill the post, we must obtain an approval from PPNC, the Provincial Personnel Management Committee. It's a start. But to a certain extent, I think we're finding each other. We're able to fill quite a number of posts in the current financial year. It's work in progress. There's an advert which has just run. We actually are able to fill those highly critical positions, especially within the core functions. So I think we're getting a breakthrough. ESCOM. ESCOM coming as a variance, reasons for variance, and the committee is not happy to say that you cannot be telling us about ESCOM. But we appreciate that the committee has also advised us that in our planning process we should also take into cognizance of exploring green energy as an alternative energy as well. Because we know the challenge that we're having with ESCOM as a country. So you can imagine that is one of the challenges that we're having. Not to say that we are doing it deliberately, we are not interacting, but for them to come and give you a service is a hazard. But we are taking your advice that in our planning process, as and when we are conducting the feasibility study, we shouldn't confine ourselves for energy to ESCOM. We must explore other alternative energy so that we can be able to assist our farmers. I will then pause here. Colleagues will speak to other questions or African Army, running for time, but I'll start here, then we'll flow like this. And colleagues, let's just be honest, bring solutions. No preamble. You mustn't do preamble. You must just be honest and
NEC, she applied.
She must apply.
No, thank you. Not after this. Not after this when I'm supposed to write it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, members. I think mine is very straightforward. The HOD.
It's resources.
Thank you. As I think from the observation you would have observed that the financial performance is aligned to the deliverables. We have not achieved the norm, but we've also not achieved the non-financial. So it's kind of aligned to that extent. HOD has already spoken to the improvement measures. But what I can assure the committee is, as a department, after we came back from the third quarter and noticed that we are more than 33% behind, but we don't short period to achieve that. We have done the monitoring and adjustment of allocations to make sure there is no underperformance due to misallocations of funding activities that are not crucial to service delivery. So what we have done, we're also adjusting within our own discretionary limits to ensure we still comply to the requirements of allocation. HOD has already spoken to project contract monitoring or project management, because in the main what you have raised on delays in project consequently delays the spending. So we will need to enhance on project planning and only fund projects which are ready for implementation. We will also strengthen our supplier service provider contracts. I think it was raised that you need to see the one who's in charge of contracts. Contract management falls under the Chief Directorate of the CFO. That runs from appointing, then hand over to the implementers of the project. At that point, the project managers will need to report project performance to finance, whether the project implementer is performing or not, but we will need to improve on that as the department. Honorable Chairperson, I know the period remaining is impossible that we can reach 100%. However, in terms of economic classification, we don't envisage a risk of underspending on compensation of employees, goods and services, because that is discretionary budget. We decide how we spend it. We will try to spend it without contravening any law. Transfers and subsidies, HOD has already spoken to it. It may have seemed to be underperforming, but the transfers will take place at the time when they were planned to be transferred to our implementing project. So as we try to spend in all economic classification, we are also very mindful of fiscal gambling. So we are spending, but also ensuring we are not making any prepayments, because that may be a risk. So we are managing that as the department, without having agreed with the HOD and the MEC, we are planning to reach at least 85% on capital expenditure. Then we will not lose the money. Okay. Then I come to the question asked by Honorable Ngobeni on saying on 23-24, how much did you underspend with? We had underspent by 40 million, but of that 40 million, 29.4 was approved as rollover. Okay. So that 29.4 is added to our current allocation. So in what we are trying to spend, we are including what was allocated. We are also mindful of the fact that you can't get a rollover twice on the same project. So we are really implementing on that. The small portion of compensation of employees that we will not spend on, but I'm sure we will reach 98% of the allocation on compensation of employees, is because of the lost time due to the recruitment. Because the processes that corporate services goes to, then we have lost time, and a position is budgeted for 12 months. So if we employ that person for 8 months, we can't make up for the 4 months. However, Treasury invited us as departments that identify within your allocation that which you will not be able to spend, so that we assist in funding disasters. So before we assisted Treasury in funding disasters, I think that's when it came in that we fund our disasters as per event. The budget that Honorable Hewitt McClough talking about there, as the department, and also because it's not kind of our mandate to manage disasters, we ensure that we have awareness that we budget for, to make awareness to our farmers, particularly those who are supporting in general. So we have funds to fund that. Now that the disasters came, we don't only wait for Coxstar to find these disasters. Those that are manageable within ourselves, we have reprioritized funds to fund those disasters, and we will not underspend on that. I think the issue of who qualifies for that, I think it's not within mine. Others who've already asked that question, they will respond to that. So as the head of finance and as supporting the accounting officer, we will ensure we don't lose funds that we cannot get back. As I said, you would all know, it's impossible that we can spend 100% on capital projects, particularly those we are implementing in this quarter. As agriculture, most of our projects are run over 8 months. That's if when we are very efficient in managing our project. So far we have completed our project within budget. Even those that have requested extension of time, it did not come with financial implications so far. I think in terms of finance, I've covered what I remember. But then this, as I've said, that our expenditure is aligned to the non-financials. My other colleagues will talk to the shortfall on non-financials and how they intend to cash back. But the catch-up plans are really working. It's not just really English. It's really working. Thank you.
Those who are responsible,
let me also take this opportunity to greet Honorable MEC, Honorable Chair, Honorable members, colleagues. I have only 2 questions. First is, how do we select smallholder farmers? We use farmer support policy. They apply, all the farmers apply, and then we have a criteria that we use to select smallholders there. And then the second one is about how many subsistence farmers and new assistance for quarter 3 is 4,186 that we have assisted.
186.
4,186.
For this financial year, 43.
It's up to quarter 3. Up to quarter 3.
Up to quarter 3.
Yes. I think from my side, on the farmer register, yes, we're using, we had a farmer database register which was facilitated by National in all provinces to register farmers. I think it was included in one somewhere there. But it needs to be updated all the time because farmers emerge every time. But we have survey 123, which we are using to register our farmers, and that serves as a database. So every farmer that needs assistance from us, we first register that farmer into survey 123, and then from there we are able to assist. So we have a farmer database for the province in terms of the district everywhere, according to the categories of smallholder, subsistence, and so on. Yeah, I think, Honorable Chair, I think that's why he wants to farm support.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, honorable members, colleagues. I'll start with the questions for disaster. I'll start with questions for disaster, which also link to our first major one has to start with I think our acting HOD has responded to the question on how we're going to deal with this one. But I must indicate to Honorable Matul that on the Copan, that's on quarter 2, the 10 which is linked to the completion of Copan will not being connected from ESCOM. the 10 is not the number of farmers, is the number of hectares.
So
That
you can add on.
She's struggling to
Yeah. Even myself.
Should we say the figure already? How do you say that? Figures go up.
the 10, thanks, Chairperson.
Just try myself.
I'm trying to. The 10 honorable market does not reflect to the number of farmers, is the number of hectares, and of which the whole 10 hectares is from this Kopano disabled drape. Is only one project which was affected with ESCOM. I'm safe to report in this meeting that ultimately in November the ESCOM went and connect the electricity. Unfortunately now in February the cables were stolen from Kopano. If one goes to the disaster question, Honorable Rahwale, let me use this veterinary services template which is there. If one looks at the annual target and the budget, you were referring to the 600 and asking whether the 600 was the budget. The 600 was the annual target for disaster. I can't remember the slide, maybe if you can go to it so that when I talk to it, it makes sense. Is indicator 2. Yeah, this one. The 600 honorable is not the budget, is the target, the number of farmers which we will be assisting. And the 1437 is the farmers which we managed to assist during Q1. And with the level budget which we had during Q1, we managed to assist those numbers because also the fodder which we provided to the farmer was provided by both the service provider whom we have procured and also from our own source. We had our fodder from the Homba research station, hence you could see the number was increased. The 200 was the Q2 target, of which the output was 0 because a lot of the budget was used during Q1. And in Q3, that's where now the CFO has indicated that through the reprioritizing of the budget, that's where now we are targeting to do in Q3. And in Q3, the service provider which was procured to provide the supplements only delivered 10% of the supplements, but ultimately the service was terminated because the service provider was not up to his task. That was in Q3. Moving to the question of the project, especially on the Dodani part, SNL, I must indicate that indeed the honorable members have said a mouthful, but I must indicate that the total amount or the total tender amount for Dodani was 9 million, and the site handover was done in November 2023, and it was to be completed in May 2024. That was the initial completion date. But before the service provider can start with the work, as they go with the project manager, the engineer, they've realized that the project is situated under an expensive clay soil where it needed some geotechnical report before it can start. And it took them around up until January 2024. And with the engineer and the contractor, they've extended that period for the project to start with 3 months because of that geotechnical report. And it warranted it for the redrawing and redesigning due to the result of the geotechnical report.
May I interject so that I don't lose him on the moment? Maybe let's start here. Who is the implementing agent? Is it Public Works or we are doing it in-house?
It is done in-house.
But the engineers will contract it outside of it.
No, the
Do you also have engineers?
Now the engineers internal activity, we want to check.
Do you contract all your code officials that are appointed as engineers? Do you contract them or do you?
We do have officials.
We have our internal agricultural engineers.
Agricultural?
Yes.
Not
civil.
Civil. Not civil.
Yes, we don't have civil.
Okay, I'll come to it. So.
That explains it.
Not really. Let me see. I'm not sure if you are picking what I'm doing. Yeah. Probably. Whether if I'm out of order for doing it. That's the reason why they say Public Works must be responsible for infrastructure. You will be responsible for your line function. Because I would imagine an agricultural engineer having to engineer an infrastructure, a building. I had a lot of questions even when I saw that. Look, I'm not an engineer, but I had a lot of questions because that same day you were there, I asked about the water that was already filling that very same building. And there is an issue, I remember. Because you could see with that building, during the rain or the flood that affected that building where chicks died, it also, there was that building that is constructing was also full of water. The same could have happened. But now it explains it, well, it's something that I don't know. Because when you say the cat is in front of the horse, because when you say you are going to redesign. Are you collapsing that structure? Actually, I'm trying to work with you. Because now there is a lot of questions. And believe me, sitting here, it will be unfair of us to want to blame your agricultural engineer. He was never designed for that. He never studied for that. He does not even start. In your consequence management, you don't even touch that person.
Now I blame you.
No, you can't, because it's the department that should then go. Because I don't really see, because I know Public Works do have the engineers from Cuba that are working in that are working in Cox, that are working in Public Works. I don't think through intergovernmental relations you can fail to outsource or to source out those ones. It could be through service level agreement, because then I'm worried about all the infrastructure that you are implementing in the province. If that is the approach, then we are doomed. We are gone. It's a homework that you must take home. I don't think writing a letter to Public Works that it's just about designing. In as much as Lebanon Bandali, a lot of work, I can tell you, I know that the Department of Education, there is a building that they said we want to take our project and implement. There's one school that the whole block collapsed. You are aware of that? Just because their role and mandate is learning and teaching. Building is none of the business. But sometimes we understand the pressure based on non-performance by Public Works in terms of implementing your program. But I don't think what we are doing is a solution, because I can tell you most of the buildings that you are constructing are going to collapse back to square one. What then? I can tell you, I've seen that building already. With the layman's eyes, I could see there already some defects. Yeah, defects on the buildings. But now I've got answers. At least I've got answers.
Let me help you so that they can answer. I'm going to do a progressive.
All members raises their hands now, and we are not yet finishing. No.
But maybe, Chair, as I close, maybe let's agree that this is
Honorable
But not exhaustive.
No.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to
We
propose.
just even started it. And the point implement is answered.
Let them respond. Let them finish. You will come.
Let him finish.
You will come.
Let him finish. And then now understanding you can't the delay of that infrastructure is because of redesigning. And I don't also I fully understand.
I feel it's just that
because all of them are using heads.
Let's stop and say
Can you please continue, sister? Please, write it down.
Sorry, Chair.
Write it down so that you
Okay. The final geotech was then forwarded to the structural engineer for the design of the structure, and of which the draft design was commissioned in February 2024. Hence, I was indicating that the site handover was done on 16 November 2023, but with this geotech reports and the assessments, there was a delay in the starting of the project. But I must indicate the period after this project had started, also somehow the contractor has requested an extension, of which now I must report that the structure is not yet completed, and the contractor is on penalties starting from the 1st of February 2025. Is on penalties starting from February 2025, and we were pushing that this should be completed not later than 31st March 2025.
Okay.
There were a question regarding the rehabilitation and the alien plans. The honorable member indicated what is the land care practices. Land care practices is when we apply minimum tillage to the soil as we plant so that the soil is not disturbed that much. When we apply like the issue of the mulching and so forth, so that at the end we are not disturbing the soil and we are not depleting the nutrients of the soil. That's where we are saying this is land care practices, and the farmers are also advised to practice such land care practices. The alien plants, there are plants which normally, as we see, like for example, there are areas which are disturbed by the sucker bushes around the company and so forth. We are trying to clear such plants so that at the end of the day, because they are competing with grazing at times, they are competing with crops, therefore we need to clear them either using the chemicals or just plowing them out so that they shouldn't come back in the fold. Honorable Chair, I think in terms of the performance of the contractors, the CFO has touched base with that. It's something which we are going to improve. And in terms of the army worm, which the question was asked by the Honorable Chair. Indeed, army worm is with us now, but what the department is doing, they are busy spraying, trying to spray the army worm. We bought chemical. We do have chemical through the unit of crop production, where they are spraying the armyworm, but the indication also, because really it's something which is going to affect even the grazing. So I heard this afternoon, it's something which we are going to engage as from the disaster management with the finance, how best can we increase the chemicals to deal with the armyworm, and also how best from the crop management, the advices from the crop management, so that we deal with them permanently. So I think most of the issues with the members have raised around the performance of the service provider or the contractor. It has been responded to by the HOD and the CFO. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Chair and members. I will be responding to two matters. The first matter is indicator 6.1.1, where agribusiness is supported with marketing services. This particular indicator entails two activities or two aspects. The first one is we need to sustain existing markets, and we do that through providing market information, compliance training, and also facilitation of market agreements. The second aspect of this service is that we need to open new markets through the assistance of the PPECB. The PPECB is the Perishable Products Export Control Board. We've got an agreement with them in place, so what they assist us is to audit our farmers to have market access. Now this is very critical because there are two accesses that can be achieved. We can have SA GAP compliance and also then global GAP compliance. The importance of having the SA GAP compliance, some of the markets and some of our retailers is indicating that farmers are unable to acquire SA GAP certification. We will not be able to supply them with our products anymore. For example, Spar in terms of fruit and vegetables, Miami Canners in terms of Miami tomatoes. Without the SA GAP certification, those markets are closed for our local farmers. The global GAP certification, it's a more intensive exercise which is also costing more money for farmers. So there we also utilize the PPECB in terms of the 5 steps that we assist them with. The first step is that we do the farm audit through the PPECB. The second step is that we do workshops on safe use of pesticides. The third step is the one-on-one with the farmer to check the correction of the identified non-conformances from the audit, because we do the audit twice. The first time is for them to correct the non-confirmed issues raised. Then is the final audit and certification, and the fifth stage is very important, Chair, is that maintaining the certification status, because once the certification is in place, obviously we need to ensure that the markets are aligned to the standards attached to the two SA GAP and the global GAP. So that is in short our activity on the market access. Chair, the other issue that I need to respond to is the issue on Zebediela. I think the members are all very much aware of the history of Zebediela, in that it was a land restitution project. The farm was restored to the rightful owners through the land restitution program. And the farm is being managed through the Communal Property Association. They are the committee members that on behalf of the beneficiaries own the farm and maintain the farm. But I think if we look at the history of Zebediela, unfortunately, throughout the beginning period, the CPA has invested or attracted strategic investors that was not very fair to the operations. And I think that is where the issue is coming from, that the estate is dilapidated. It might not be at optimal production. And because our department is responsible for agricultural production, also on land reform projects, there is this initiative that we've got together with Impact Catalyst. It's a non-profit corporation that is assisting us through match funding to revitalize Zebediela estate. At the moment, we are at the stage of, we finalized the irrigation study at Zebediela, because the first point of call was to determine what is the water capacity at Zebediela, The second step was the development of the master plan. If we want to turn around the Zebediela estate, it's going to cost 500 million. 500 million. I want to repeat that if we want to turn around Zebediela estate in terms of the master plan, the costing thereof is 500 million. Now the challenge that the department is sitting in is the issue of the CPA. If the CPA is not willing to step away from the business, it will be a challenge for the implementation of the master plan. We extensively through Impact Catalyst discussed and developed the master plan together with the beneficiaries. Nothing was done without the input from the beneficiaries. When the master plan was at the last stage of development, unfortunately the CPA went and entered into market agreements currently, which is outside the master plan. So in as much as the intent is for them to cooperate and implement the master plan, we're having that particular risk. I also want to take the members into confidence. The CPA was due for elections after the 5 years of tenure. Through the assistance of the PSSC, the elections took place on the 12th of January this year. On the 10th of January, the outgoing CPA signed a 99-year lease agreement with the cooperative for a certain portion of Zebediela. In terms of the payment of that lease agreement, payment will only be once the cooperative has got income, which is in essence, if they don't prove the income, there's no payment to be made to the CPA. And I want to put this on the table to say, it's really going to be very difficult to revitalize Zebediela if we do not have an intent from the CPA to step away from the business. There are strategic investors that Impact Catalyst can bring to Zebediela to assist in the funding of the turnaround of Zebediela. But currently they are not interested because they do not trust the governance at the estate. So members, what we are doing at this moment through the assistance of the MEC, we are having intended meeting with the CPA to then request them the intent in writing to step away from the business so that we can implement the master plan. If we look at the money that we've already spent as government on Zebediela throughout the year, it is totaling 17, nearly 18 million rand that we spent to revitalize or attempt to revitalize Zebediela citrus estate. So basically, in my conclusion, we are actually at the knife edge in terms of government assistance in Zebediela, and I think by the next meeting we will be able to give the members feedback to say where does the department stand in terms of our ability to actually assist to revitalize the estate.
I'm waiting for the indication that I'll respond. Let me see. Okay. Honorable members, I think they've responded to quarter 2 and 3. And now it's follow-ups from honorable members. We're crying
And the
wanted to
follow-up
ask
until this
something.
No,
please,
Mine is a proposal, Chairperson. Since we received the responses for quarter 3 and quarter 3, remember some of these issues were mentioned as an example or as examples. Was a bit citrus, marine, whatever, home. These are issues that are coming from the portfolio which we have already resolved that you need to set aside a date where they will be able, after they have received the list, to come and brief us on those issues. So it's better we stop here and then wait for that meeting, which must take place before the NEC can come to the legislature to give a budget speech. Because now, even our bloods are going higher if we receive the stories of Zebediela, which we never expected. And there are more and more pronouncements, even from the office of the Premier, without this information that is so scary, we need to sit down while we are still fresh and understand what is happening, how can we get out of that. If there is no way out, what is plan B? Because we can't be talking about one and the same thing over and over again. And when the Premier speaks, when the MEC speaks, all the communities are listening. So sometimes they will look at us and think we are fools. And I don't think we are. So my proposal is that
on the same notion that that is what we're simply saying is that we're going to arrange a day where we discuss issues pertaining service delivery in those department. We're going to list all the issues because we also have proposals and because you are implementing some of the project on your own, we want to advise on what you need to do, like what other departments have done, so that you are not found wanting. In terms of the responses, we got the responses pertaining to and correct. But then it seems we still have got a lot of work to do. Because you as a department must tell us as your committees are going to where your reports to say, having said that the Nigeria needs 500 million, then because I don't see us getting that 500 million, even in the 10 to 15 years to come. But then what then? Because you are the, what do you call this thing? Technocrat. You are technocrat. Lena, you are appointed based on your qualifications, different from us. So you need to tell us so that we go and tell the public in the legislature. I know that. But we have to be guided and directed by you. You see, sometimes when I say, let me see, officials sometimes, but I will tell because I don't think the Premier was aware of this when she mentioned about the DLS interest. That within this short space of time we would have done. I don't think that. I don't think she was informed. Then the question becomes, is the NEC aware? Because how the state of the province is prepared, departments must submit. And somebody submitted in the previous financial year for the Premier to go and say no change it. But the more people change this, the more things are getting worse. So, but what we need to do is that we are going to request you will list all the issues that we want to prepare reports. And when you prepare reports, don't just go and prepare notes for us. What you say is Zebediela and propose what you think should be a way forward. So that when we, and it should be able to indicate is a short term, in a short term, because you can either implement it, can function. That's the only thing that you can be able to do. But now we are going to get 500 million when we are failing as a country to adopt a budget for parliament which affects all of us here because there's no money. And you want to think you'll get 500 million, we are all in our dreams. Now the question becomes what then should be done? So that then we advise and tell the people, because CPA, we should find a way of dealing with CPA. Surely there should be a way of dealing with CPA, but before we go there, you know that troublesome Makoba CPA. But there we are today, we're on a level 2. So there should be a way. There is going to be a way. When you pass there, you can see now there's progress, there's electric gate, You can see there's progress. People are going to get jobs. The rest should wait. CPA feelings must wait. There's going to be progress. The same with CVDL, we must find a way. Obviously, at my JJ, at some stage there was a problematic CPA, but there is a solution today. People are going to get jobs. You must tell us what is going to happen, so that we tell the public something that is going to happen. You as technocrats must tell us, in terms of our understanding, we think this is what should be done, so that when MEC is going to give a budget speech, she speaks from something, because they're not going to take a budget speech and sit like this and analyze and say, you said this. Now first quarter pass, second quarter pass, we're on the third quarter, there's no progress. So we think for today, let's close, but we're going to list through the chairperson and the researcher and our coordinator, they will give you, and MEC, 14 days upon receiving of the document. We believe those people are sitting in the offices. It's just a matter of collecting them and then put their way forward and come and talk to us the whole day, if that's what it means. So that MEC, when you stand in the podium, we know you're not put under the bus, you're not thrown under the bus. You're saying things that are going to be possible. So that later we'll be talking to you based on what we have agreed ourselves together with you. To say this is what we thought can work. People are waiting for jobs, they're looking at CBT, they're looking at jobs. Now, in Mahoba, when I pass there, the three of us when we go home, we're passing including her, we start to have hope. We're seeing people wearing overalls there, they're cutting. There's going to be more people are going to get jobs. Around this December, people are going to get jobs. Their kids will smile in December. That's what we want to see. Because agriculture is not about, it's all about economic, So please, when we bring those things, don't start to talk English. Give us that report, because that report is sitting in the offices. Want to come and sit like this from morning when we still have energy. Now we are tired from legislature since morning. Our little Narvat. So let me see that we know how she had to be here. So please, chairperson for you. And I hope my guys follow this one.
I've witnessed the end of my group and the last.
This is the last.
7 days.
14 is too much.
Yeah, 7 days is okay.
All right, I want to talk about this. Oh, is this one? No. You said you are a senior, you want to close. I'm just commenting, I won't go far. Chairperson, both of us, it's a collective effort. You see, Chair, I refuse to be tired, but I'm going to work with everyone who's tired. Two things I want to speak to.
Yeah, it's an okay.
Namkombela officials namkombela the officials in other departments. Don't mislead our politicians, especially MECs. Namkombela. You see MEC, what the Premier just said yesterday about that thing there was secretary. I don't think she had the information you're having. I doubt. Or anyone who wrote that speech does not have the information you're having. Last year, Chair, these ones who are passing my course, can I finish speaking so that we can have your meeting afterwards? Thank you. You see, last year in June, here in headquarters, our Premier speaks about Abachua. She even puts the days, 14 days, 20 days. She speaks about Mashashani, she puts a man. And everyone, wow. And the three popular national stations are broadcasting that presentation, right? 6 months down the line, when we go there and do oversight, we realize this thing called Abachua, in fact, has got no future in the next coming 6 years. But the Premier just pronounced on it. You go to Amashashani there, you realize there's a minimal hope, Marat. There's nothing to be hashed in this issue. Now we come here, chairperson of the committee, we get a very progressive briefing. Madam, thank you very much. You see, you have brought hope to my well-being today, and if we can conclude the meeting and talk about secretariat, that information we don't have. Just yesterday, not many, when was it when the Premier was delivering the SOPA?
That's all.
SOPA. if you wrote what you gave us here, and I pull out the speech of the Premier on Sepetier, you'll ask yourself, is this Premier a member of this province or she's coming from Uganda? Because the two of the things are going separate ways. And what does that mean? It means that someone is not giving the Premier the correct information. I'm going to engage on this one, and I'm going to say, let's do an investigation. We must get the person who should have briefed it properly. We must put them on probation for 9 months, and afterwards we fire them. Because that's a very dangerous thing to make. You can't go, Chairperson, did you hear what she said yesterday? It's heartbreaking. Now we come here. Now the last question I have is this one. That was a comment. NEC and your team, please man, advise me. Where is your department in this Lugwahoma abattoir? If like just this is a simple one. What is the, if it was shareholding, I would say, how much of the percentage in the shareholding is this department having? Because we are not sure who to blame here, which our guns where they must go. Economic development or agriculture. And because it's about food, we also bring it close and say, but this was the ones to ask us to produce meat and sell it out. But in simple terms, what is the extent of your authority and your contribution or your participation in this permanently upcoming abattoir? We want to fix it so that, Chair, once we know who it should belong to, where we meet together and we discuss, we can then say, please, so that we can know who must take responsibility. Cut this one out of this game plan and leave it with this one. You'll only call these ones to come and provide with what we call expert view. And from technocrats, you also have bureaucrats. Just so tomorrow you are not sure. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair. You know, from the other part of my life, when I was not a member of the Honorable House, we raised the issue of the CPA on multiple occasions and in relation to their powers and functions, and we were not listened to. We started with Makhuba, we raised it some 10-15 years back. All former mayors and executive mayors of both Zanini and Mopani raised that issue with all ministers, that we are letting this thing to collapse in our eyes, and we were watching people fighting over the land that should be productive, and the tea estate there collapsed. And the one that is in Kenya is still surviving even today. But this one collapsed because there was no interest to intervene decisively. I think the issue of the CPA, Honorable MEC, you must take it up with your colleagues there where it was drafted. There should be a particular role that government plays. You can't just hand over land to people. You know, we have handed over land to people whom we didn't train even how to utilize that land. Let's be honest. You know, I was listening to the acting HOD, to the CFO and all colleagues. You know, I was getting rejuvenated, but when it came to the issue of Zenithia, you know, my blood pressure it went very high. Because it's reality what she's saying. If you don't get a partner to come into the play in terms of revitalizing Zenithia, like what happened with Makhuba, if those two didn't intervene there and make sure there is progress, Makhuba estate, tea estate could have been what it is some 10 years back. We couldn't even pass there. There were big snakes that when you were going down that particular mountain. Now, at least there is progress. But there is progress after government does. How many millions have we spent in Makhuba before it could be what is it today? There should be an issue on the MEC that when you go to a MINMEC, the issue in relation, even including these officials who are working for the National Department, man, there is something that they are cooking which you don't see here. I don't know whether they are like Nabi cooking the chips now. You know, there is something that they are cooking we don't see, because it is you as a department at a provincial level who must go and do firefighting, but it's them who are messing up. Including the issue of when we were doing this thing of land, what do you call this thing? Land claim and land restitution. They will mess up as officials there. But you as politicians in the province, you must go and do the fire extinguisher thing. Now, I agree with you, MEC, that you should put your foot down, that those people must account. But how about another national department? To hell with that. They must account even at the provincial level because it's the one that is causing problems. It goes the same with how people in the area account in terms of water provision in the province. Whereas it's us who are politicians who go and do firefighting. But now we just account the Home Minister. To hell with that. This thing must come to an end because it's causing us a lot of frustrations. Lastly, Ematot, how do you come with a specification and approve a project without a geotech report? That is nonsense, miss. It has never happened in any project. You can't implement any project without a geotech report. It doesn't happen all over the world. And this is what I want to do for the first time. We mustn't allow things that are wrong to happen in departments whereas we are there. Either you become unpopular or on this one, my hands are clean. Continue, but now I'm objecting. Write it there. Object. But you are coming to tell us that you had a person appointed, a specification was done, there was no geotech report, the structural engineer must come back and redesign the structure that was already done. Because when you appoint that person in the middle, already there was a structure. Is it you cut and paste that somewhere. Colleagues, don't allow to do. You know the way I've been listening to you, most of you are professionals in your own rights. You know what you are doing in that department. But problem if you now come and shake you have become shaky and leave things on. No, MEC,
someone must pay back.
It can't be. That's why I'm saying it's just like when we tell her that all the roads that you are doing, they are bleeding. We tell them all the roads that you are doing, they are bleeding. Have you ever seen a road that is done last year is bleeding today? It tells you that something is not right. And when we raise these things sharply, it seems as if you are attacking somebody who's working it right. How do you have people who are in responsibilities, position of responsibility? And if she didn't raise it that there is a need for 500 million, our premier was going to pronounce that we are going as a province, we'll do funding and we'll get 20 million. You think that 20 million will do anything? There is a drop in an ocean. It won't do anything there. But even the powers, Honorable Chair, that we have given to the CPAs, no. There should be a way of government intervening. If it means we must go and repeal that act that speaks about the CPAs, let's do it. The same way we've done with the appropriation bill, the same way we've done with Bella bill, we can do with the CPA. People who are in the CPA, in those CPA because they are eating there, they are stealing. The money that government is investing there, they are stealing it. Why can't we just keep quiet and say about mismanagement? They are stealing, literally. How do you go and sign a lease agreement of 99 years that doesn't speak even to the production services of your own company? You can see that something is not right here. And people do it quicker because 3 years is coming. They are getting out of the CPA. But go and check those CPA checks. Most of them, there have been CPA members since the CPA was started, since then. It's just like other departments say you find a person has been a CEO for the past 20 years. It doesn't happen that way. Board member for 20 years. Something's wrong there. That's why you must create new people and come with new ideas who are innovative in current. Through you, Chair, I think the MEC has got a team of men and women with capacities. It's just an issue of tapping into them, giving them extraordinary powers to make sure that they confined to a space where you think you are channeling them. Give them a platform to excel, and where you think you are ruining them in, you rule them in. But if we continue on making sure that we don't give our officials enough space to exercise and also guide, parental officials, they will tell you what you want to hear anything. If they see that this one, They only tell you what you want to hear. Those things that are there which can make the department collapse, they won't tell you. They will tell you sweet things. We appreciate I've seen an element of Umbogoto who are capable. I've seen that CFO, she's capable, and the team that responded, all of you. Thank you very much for your excellency and continue doing the good work for this government. And also make sure that you transact that information you have to the junior officials that are under you. So that when you go to pension, or if God can make his own determination about you, at least the department doesn't suffer. Thank you very much.
Members questions. The officials who see we really thank you with your teams to be responded to our questions. In that response, the members are aware, they are aware of certain things that is not. And I think it's our duty to go deep. It's our duty to go deeper and assist this department until next week when we meet. I think we are going to assist. I think we're going to meet. And probably they can be prepared to Madonna's time. That's when we're going to be here day and night. Time to assist. If you want to achieve, you must work. Let's work and work and work. You get supper, don't worry, you get supper on that day. Preparing to work until midnight in order to assist the department. As we are going to item number 9, announcement.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Dinner is ready. Food is ready outside. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm not going to waste your time, but just to indicate that we have all the decisions made and the list that you are going to submit. We are going to make sure that we are on top of the situation to respond to every list. We have made it deliberate to say the HOD alone does not respond, and that all the relevant officials must respond so that we are very able to identify the gap which will make us to assist them in terms of defining their performance and working with that. And I think they've realized that if one person doesn't perform optimally, it affects the whole department. So pertaining to the issue of the senior not being given the information, before we can even go to lambast the office of the Honorable Premier, the fact of the matter is that by the time, during the commencement of the 7th administration, when the Premier was alluding to the speech there, by that time, the department have not yet received the master plan. The master plan was still on the process to be finalized, and he got the report up to that level. And the only incidents that appears now are the ones that I also had of now late, together with the acting HOD, of course, with the previous acting HOD, Mr. Nowata, whom I found when I commence with the office, and subsequent to that, another acting HOD, Mary Mashamba. So now that we got the information, we are going to make sure that together with the directorate responsible for regulatory, Dr. Labuskatni, together with the acting HOD, we are going to beef up the report that we have submitted to the Honorable Premier so that we are able to intervene accordingly, because the issue of the CPA is the national crisis, and even the minister has attested to that in the budget speech that he has alluded to say 82% of the CPAs are problematic, and the same thing applies to Zirediela CPA. But in terms of the report submitted to my exposer, I always want to refer issues to the Premier that I know for the fact that they are authentic. Hence, by the time they gave me the report, I told them vividly on the issue of the submission of the report and whatever they submitted to the office in terms of both the financial implications, the legal implications, because the report was saying in terms of the legal implication, none, there's no legal implication. Financial implication, none. Then I questioned them to say, why are you saying there is no legal implication? Whereas you are talking about the previous CPAs who made a 99-year lease prior to its lapse of office. So the new CPA are now stuck with the agreement made by the previous CPA. Whereas you should indicate under the legal implications and also the financial implications. If I can show you the document, it's written none, but today they're saying 500 million will be needed to complete the project. We know for a fact that it might not be the direct responsibility of the department, taking into cognizance that there is a partnership between the CPAs themselves and the strategic partner, but we also have the role as the department to make sure that we support them, and we must put budget aside to make sure that we provide the necessary support. Hence, I'm saying in front of you that all of us, all the directorates here are going to make sure that whatever the information is submitted to me is authentic, so that I must submit the very same authentic report to the Premier. The Premier will then cascade it further to the members of the public. And in terms of the issue of the Essel & Sons, Dodani, and the approval of the geotech, I think on this one, we must also make sure that we go deeper into that issue. And also make sure that if indeed at the end of the day they were able to rectify that mistake of administering the issue of the geotech to tell the soil type, then we'll be happy. And I would like all of us here, the portfolio committee members, to make sure that in the next city, we all come with the solutions. I'm not expecting that the very same questions that are posed to us are going to be repeated in the next meeting. So I'm making a plea to all of us here, that all of us, let's make sure that in the next sitting where we'll be interrogating the list, we'll be coming with those solutions, including my officials there to tell us the truth of the matter, whether indeed that geotech to rectify that mistake was effected. During the flood is the flood, the disaster is the disaster, no matter the quality of the project. Through the soil test, the truth of the matter is that now when you flat, nobody's clarifies the flood. Mara say as a wrong this can create the true report in terms of following the due processes. Yeah, or reappoint the geotech or rectify the very same mistake, so that when the flood it becomes minimal. ayinabiya noba that magnitude it damage the whole building. But to our own disappointment on the issue of the external institutions like the implementing agents, the public works, we want to report categorically that the projects that we have given to public works, all of them, they are not implemented. We are sitting here on the problem of the under expenditure for about 17 million. With the projects emanating from public works, you go to Dombisileka there, you go, Dombisileka is even better because the officials are the same. They give you a report to say it's 97%. And you are there from, you look at the building, you don't even qualify to see the 97%. Take into cognizance the job that you see there with your own naked eyes. So it is not happening in the Department of Agriculture, I must tell you. All the departments, some of you we are saving in all the departments. This is the role that our service providers, our officials, and us, of course, we are doing, because we should be playing an oversight role, although we are trying, but some of the areas were unable to penetrate. With Manzibandela, then we are at 0%. If I wouldn't have lambasted during the infrastructure portfolio committee, because when they were reporting at that level, they were saying, no, with education, Department of Agriculture and Education, they're not spending, but with the Department of Agriculture, there's nothing that we can do. We'll just make sure that the money is returned back. Consciously, so the person who was reporting is the official. So I then intervened because the HODs are not allowed to speak during the portfolio committee meeting. I then intervened, and I was very much strong on that matter to say, you don't even feel ashamed. No matter it's a small budget, you consider Department of Education, because it's a huge budget, about 100 and something, then they did not spend. Then they were saying, we'll make a catch-up plan every day. We are meeting with the Department of Education, but with agriculture, there's nothing that we can do. With a little amount is very much important for the provision of services to our people. So, of all the projects, starting from Dombisileka, Manzibandela, the laboratories at Lephalale and Mogalakwena, there is no progress registered, and worse with Manzibandela, because we are still registering 0% there. The amount, the percentage that the poor CFO is saying now is emanating from our own budget, because like it told you, the efforts. Because we are at 67%. Then Katuma Wabana around the clock. And I'm has no change every day. Or I think that percentage from 67% to the percentage by Potamo. Who have been working around the clock every day. And I never assisted to public works. You can verify the norm 96% or 94%. But unfortunately, Majoarna but with the CPA, some of us here, we are sitting in the strategic meetings. We are the governing party, we are the ANC. We need to make sure that in our commissions there, when we talk about the repealing of some of the acts, indeed, the issue of the CPA must be considered, because they are administered in terms of the CPA's Act. There's nothing that you can do. That's what sue. They have the right to sue, but not to be sued, because but they operate within the ambit of the CPA's Act. You'll be defeated before the court of laws. So anyone who make a show, usually CPA, change business people. Change Hamilao, dealing with strategic partners. But declare a company insolvent. But what company really insolvent? You lose a worker, start a
afresh with a new name, they don't care. So those are the things that don't worry. That will meet a more so to look when Chanaga John and the solution. But I have my putting a reina mola added and the budget. We must be able to raise those things.
So, Chairperson, the only thing that is happening there, and that the department is losing cases in high court.
Thank you. And then our next agenda.